Hello everyone, Tactical H here, how's everyone doing? Today we are back for another Saturday weekend tournament hosted by the RTK clan. And we're gonna cast the new player tournament today. Yeah, we already have the first replay coming in, so we're just gonna check it out. Now, today's stream is something that I've been dreading for quite a while. Not a long while, just more like the past few days. Not because of the stream itself, but because, man, the UK's been hot these days. Got hit with a freaking heat wave, and I mean, it's the UK. The houses here are not designed to deal with heat. They're more designed to trap heat in here. So, yeah, I'm in my room, which is kind of like a sauna right now. I mean, not quite there, but getting there. Yeah, especially with the PC generating heat from, well, running to the wall. But yeah, let's see how long we can stand within the fires of battle, the heat of battle. And yeah, let's try to get some action going on the weekend. Now, for the army builds here, we have Skaven. Actually, I didn't quite check. I think one side is Dark Horse, the other side is Milky Way Frog. All right. Yeah. So I think Dark Horse is playing as the Siege Army. And then Milky Way Horse playing as Milky Way Frog playing as the Vermins, the Skavens, a front line of Climate Spears and Storm Vermins, providing a pretty solid backbone for this one line of infantry, and then a second line of missiles, Poisewing Globes, and a bunch of Skaven Slave Slingers, plus one anti-bullet sharpshooter, and then a bunch of Red Ogres, and some more extra Clan Rats protecting the back line there. Leading the army is a Kick Claw, and a Kick Claw only on his hamster wheel, with a Flensing Ruin and Howling Warp Gale on the other side for the Siege army. Ooh, this is going to be rough for them. A front line of Zangors hoping to break through the enemy infantry, and a second line of pink and blue horrors. The blue horrors is the Chromatic Abominations, plus one Sour Guts. Marauders of Siege with spears, and Forsaken on the flanks. In this guy's Furies and some Marauder Horsemen on the flank as well, providing some skirmishing firepower with... okay, Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Siege leading... Sorcerer Lord of Siege bringing Metal Magic. Well, no magic, just Arcane Conduit, Blasted Standard, and Sword of Change. I wonder if he's just relying only on this sort of change Chaos One Summon to break through the Skaven front lines. There's also a Cultist of Siege here with the Cascading Fire Cloak and Flaming Sword. I'm not seeing any Burning Head, which is interesting. Gate of Siege for the Pink Horror summon. So bring quite a couple of summons today. And yeah, trying to get through the front line with those summons, keep striking the enemy formations. Now, Natty Bull Sharpshooter having that range advantage, already immediately opening fire onto the Siege position, knocking out the shields and killing some Zangors. So Furies are jumping in, trying to shut down these Regiment of Renown and Jazeo unit. So Red Ogres are piling in, Climb Rats trying to pile in and protect those Natty Bubos, but they're taking quite a bit of damage. But Furies are extremely fragile, so they're probably going to go down soon. While the Murder Horsemen are just sitting back there, chucking javelins at Red Ogres. The Slingers are not turning around to fire at them, which is a big mistake there. Slingers do not have 360 shooting, so they need to be manually targeted to handle threats behind them. Now they're turning around, so the Murder Horsemen are quickly retreating. One of the Furies is going down. Poisewing Globes have been moved up, trying to counteract enemy infantry threat. Oh. Okay, yeah, wait, hold on. I thought there were more Zangors earlier. Did they just... Okay, Zangor, two Zangors, yeah, and then one more... Marauder Spears are just going back. But yeah, the Poisewing Globes getting lit up horribly by the Pink Horrors and getting entirely deleted already from the front line. They probably should have been held back a little further back so that they can just shoot at whatever infantry that moves close, and let the Kick Claw and other Red Ogres deal with the enemy back line. Anyways, the Pink and Blue Horrors are sitting back at a safe distance away from the Poisewing Globes, since the Poisewing Globes don't really have a long range here, only 85, while the Pink Horrors have 130, and Blue Horrors also have 90 as well. Bit of a brawl up from Vortex, nuking some Zangors, while the Red Ogres and Slingers are just trying to desperately hold back the enemy infantry there. Furies are still trying to manage to actually run down the Natty Buos, but unfortunately the Murder Horsemen are at the back there have been shot up pretty badly by those Slingers. being kind of forgotten there. Red Ogres and Ikiclaw has pushed in and silenced a couple of these pink and blue horrors, but there's still one more pink horror, and the Chromatic Abomination is still free to fire, as there are only so many units on the field to disrupt those Sarguts and pink horrors. Especially Sarguts have this kind of self-detonation on death, right? And can do pretty decent damage into melee units, whether they're cavalry or infantry, and just making sure that the attackers against them pay for their intrusion. Anyways, Poison Globes are trying to push close to the front line and probably shoot up some pink horrors, but looks like there is one single cultist jumping in, trying to disrupt them and manage to silence them for now, keeping those pink horrors safe at the back there. While over here, Ikiclaw still trying. Looks like Ikiclaw just finished up some poor pink horrors at the back there. Or is it a summoned pink horror? That's probably a summoned pink horror, actually, which explains why they go down so fast. But yeah, Ikiclaw doesn't really have anything to stop him right now. I don't see. Oh wait, no, the spawn summon is already dead. Never mind. But yeah, I don't see anything else to really pin down Ikiclaw at this point on the field. Yeah, he is free to run around. The problem is, can his rest of his army hold up? Murder Horsemen have ran all the way around from the rear of the Skaven army to back to the main formation here, just hitting these Poison Globes from the front. Poison Globes though do have some heavy armor at 100, so they can tank out some damage from at least Murder Horsemen melee attack, while the Storm Vermin are pushing up, trying to take down those Sarguts. But again, the Sarguts explode when they die, so they can do some pretty good damage over time, even if they're fighting a melee unit that is stronger than them. Especially this explosion has a bit of armor piercing. Not the most insane bit, but it's still good damage. They still fire in melee, and yeah, Murder Horseman still tries to push. Decided to pull away from the Poison Wing Globes, noticing that the Natty Bubbles are just picking them off from afar. Gave up on the Poison Wing Globes and went after the Natty Bubbles, but there are some Clamor Spears nearby, so their attempt has failed. And yeah, looks like the Skavens have established a pretty good position here. Poison Wing Globes are still relatively healthy, and then an Overwatch volley onto the Murder Horsemen. Just enough to peel them off before they manage to charge into the Poison Wing Globes. And the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Siege with Metal Magic is being bulldozed by the Hamster Wheel. After all, he is an infantry-sized model, and they're fighting the Hamster Wheel with anti-infantry bonus. So we're just gonna fast forward here. There's I don't think there's much the Siege army can do to bring this one back. Pink Horrors are being threatened by both Storm Vermins and Red Ogres, and there are only just a couple Marauder Horsemen left, and the Chromatic Abominations, which are under heavy fire from the remaining Poison Wind Globe and Slingers. Marauder Horsemen took heavy losses when they on their way in, charging into those Poison Wind Globes. So yep, they're gonna be gone. While the Storm Vermins continues to push the Chromatic Abominations, and yeah, I'm gonna fast forward here. Yeah, as soon as the Poison Wing Globes turn around and start shooting this blob, everything's gonna die for Siege. The Murder Horsemen, a valiant attempt to cycle charge, but the Siege army is just too injured to pull this one back, I think. Yep, GG to both players, and yeah, we're gonna move on to the next game. Actually, I need to do some self-promotion somewhere else as well. Hold on. But yeah, man, I can feel the room getting warmer as I continue to run the game. Fudge. But yeah, let's see how long we can last here under the heat. I mean, I'm born and raised in a subtropical region. I'm used to heat, right? Yeah. Ikiclaw here, getting some pretty solid damage value, 2,600 gold worth of damage. Basically carrying the game, running down enemy infantry and dropping those spells, Cleansing Ruin and Brass Orb and whatnot. Doing pretty good damage to the enemy formations over time. The rest of the Skavens, well, infantry are just there to delay the enemy. Storm Vermins did alright. Keep pushing the enemy, as there's not really much that can stop them in melee on the other side of the battlefield. Poison Wind Globes, the one that got nuked early, managed and earned back their worth, and the other one, wow, 3 times their worth, as expected for the Poison Wind Globes. I swear they need to be a bit more expensive, because there's just, I mean, yeah, sure they have a short range, but they're just so disproportionately good with their damage output compared to their cost. Oh shit, I forgot to check the Siege Army value. Let me just quickly jump back in, and while I download some replays on the back end. Yeah, we got quite a few replays. So I'm gonna quickly fast forward this battle while I do the replay download and move them into the replay folder and all that. So yeah, give me a second there. Yeah, we have quite a few replays every round too, since we have 10 players, I think. Yeah. So 5 battles every round. So yeah, we have quite a bit of action going today, which is great. Alright, yep. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I feel like the Siege Army probably need more spawns, because the spawns can immediately punch through the clan rats and all that. And a Burning Head. Burning Head would be very useful here. Burning Head plus spawns. Just because you can quickly roast the enemy front line with the Burning Head, and then the spawns can push in. Especially if you have weird spawn with the Terror, it would come in really handy against the clan rats. Combined with the poison damage. No, not poison. Combined with the leadership debuff of Burning Head. Terror from the rear spawn, and then leadership debuff from Burning Head, and the shock damage. It will guarantee an immediate break from any clan rats. And also, Flensing Ruin onto the Chaos Sorcerer Lord is pretty good too. But yeah, definitely need Burning Head to deal with all the clan rats instead of Flaming Sword Ruins. Flaming Sword Ruin doesn't really have much usage here. I mean, it synergizes with the non-armor piercing damage of all these missiles and whatnot, but yeah, it's just not great. Oh, Flensing Ruin. Just keep draining the health of this poor Chaos Sorcerer Lord. And ran over by a Kick Claw. Okay, army losses, and then let's check the siege values. Just a quick look. Mortal Horseman unfortunately got picked off by a bunch of slinger shots. And Forsaken, theoretically, Forsaken is good against the Skaven frontline, but they get absolutely wrecked by Poison Wind Globe. So yeah, don't bring... I don't think Forsaken is worth it unless you can figure out a way to like keep those Poison Wind Globes occupied. Or keep their fire away from the Forsaken. It's pretty rough, to say the least, for the Forsaken to even get into melee range. Yeah, one of the Chaos Fury pushed back the Netty Bubos, but just not enough to permanently silence them, which is quite unfortunate. Alright, cool. Next up. Yeah, we've got all the replays from round 1, so we're just gonna quickly go through them. Now, for the next battle, we have Darth Plagueis here versus Grand Army. I think that's how you pronounce it, since it looks like French. Grand Army. I don't know. The 409th Grand Army. Yeah, I'll do that. Darth Plagueis going with a greenskin build with a Goblin Shaman, leading the army with 3 regular gobbles and then more goblins, but this time with spears. Biggins with another Biggin. The Biggins and the Biggin. Rogue Idol Regiment of Renown with rock throws. And at the back there, Orc Error Boys and a bunch of Orc Boar Boy Biggins. So a lot of Biggins today, even with the Biggin. Goblin Great Shaman with Vindictive Glare and Itchy Nuisance. Also the Don't Even Try It to drain down characters, I guess. On the other side of the battlefield, we have the Demons of Chaos army, a front line of Blue Horror, second line of a couple Bloodletters. Interesting. Don't usually see them just because they're such a fragile melee unit. Very susceptible to anything, really. Maybe not exactly magic, but still, yeah, I think magic can still do good work against them. But yeah, they are pretty glass cannon with only 26 melee defense and rely a lot on that physical resistance to protect them. Very minimal armor, so yeah, they just kind of die to it. Pretty much everything, really. Even Flock of Doom can do some consistent damage against them. Anyways, on the flank, Seekers of Slanesh, Fleshhounds of Khorne. The Seekers recently got a slight nerf, so let's see how they perform in this battle. But yeah, Orc Bagans and the Goblin frontline are moving in, just trying to occupy those Blue Horrors in melee. Oh, the Orc Bagans are immediately getting shot by some focus fire from the Blue Horrors here, taking quite a bit of damage, and also they didn't have a charge attack order onto the enemy. Ichidus is dropping the enemy melee attack. Really nice use to counteract the anti-infantry bonus on all these Bloodletters. Maybe the Orc Bagans will have a slightly better time at fighting against the Bloodletters when the debuff is on. There are a couple rock throws earlier as well, just to nuke down some health of the Bloodletters, and now the Goblin Great Shaman on the Lava Spider charging into combat. But yeah, the Goblins are just Goblins. They are not really built to stand and hold the lines. Immediately they're breaking, but the Orc Air Boys are raining shots into the enemy formation. Ooh, looks like there is a final transmutation from the Herald of Team of Metal Magic, draining down the Goblin Great Shaman. What has been activated to give those greenskins a damage boost, and you can see the Orc Bagans fighting 2 units at once and still winning thanks to the Ichinuzus and the Wa. Neutering the Bloodletters' damage output while boosting the Orc Bagans with the Wa, and then the fire support from the Orc Air Boys as well, working down the health of all of these rather fragile glass cannon-y demons units. Even the Furies, even with their best attempt to try and drop onto the Orc Air Boys, they are not exactly successful in killing everything. One of them will actually break off some Orc Air Boys, since they're the Khorne Fury. They do have that frenzy boosting their melee stats, boosting their melee output. But if they have other support like the Orc Bagans nearby, they've managed to beat back some Furies, and now they're going after another unit of Orc Air Boys. These ones managed to get some pretty good success. But speaking of success, the Orc Bagans are doing okay. I mean, they're not burning very to work, but considering they're fighting Bloodletters, which they're not designed to, yeah, they managed to beat back the Bloodletters, and the Bloodletters are crumbling. Blue Horrors are not having a good time either in melee. And oh, the Bagan is throwing rocks. But yeah, the backline, those Seekers and Flashhounds managed to overwhelm the protection from all these Orc Warrior Bagans. On one-on-one, seems like the Orc Warrior Bagans are still not enough to go up against Seekers. They might have even gotten a charge from it. Yeah, these Broken Dust mobs are so dead. Oh, rear charge from the Seekers. And the second Seekers are nearby too. Oh, yep, the mobility of the Greenskins are gone, but they do have a couple very powerful single entities still on the field. Ooh, another final transmutation though. So the Goblin Great Shaman is getting drained, but thankfully he is on the Lava Spider, so he has 10k HP to start with. And it's gonna take them quite a while to kill the Herald of Teen, from the Herald of Teen to kill the Goblin Great Shaman with just the spells. At least he still has some missile attacks. It's not fully armor piercing though, so it's not like the most insane damage in the world. But yeah, so the Goblin Great Shaman is probably trying to chase him and finish him off, but noticing that the rest of his army really needs some help right now, he has turned around and dropped a Vindictive Glare onto the Seekers of Slanesh, but most of them hit the ground or friendly fire. So not a lot of damage, unfortunately, and the Orc Bagans are actually overwhelmed by the Seekers' rear charge. And yeah, there's not a lot of melee infantry presence for the Greenskins anymore. All their air boys are gone. It might be down to whether they can knock out that Herald of Tinge in melee and get a few more leadership breakage. The Bagan will be holding, especially with some Goblin Spears chaff support. Vindictive Glare doing some okay damage. But he might just want to just drop all the Vindictive Glare onto the Herald of Tinge, making sure you kill them. No! Why are you running away? I mean, okay, never mind. Seekers are nearby. Probably don't want to get stuck in the middle of Seekers. But yeah, probably should have went for the multiple cast of Vindictive Glare onto the Herald. Now, even with all the single entities here, I feel like it's gonna be an uphill battle for Greenskins to bring this one back, just because there's so many Seekers still nearby. Oh no, the Goblin Great Shaman isolated and overwhelmed by the Seekers nearby. Oh no, he has been routed. And if the Seekers manage to run him down, there's pretty much nothing the Greenskins can do to keep those goblins in the fight. And there's also no more magic support for the Greenskins either. God, oh man, the Big N needs to get over here and maybe try to persuade the Seekers to get the hell out, to back off from the lava spider. Rocks are still being thrown though, and each rock can kill a handful of, I mean a few, not a handful, but just a few Seekers. And they're doing damage over time, I guess. But yeah, definitely a bit of a mistake here, sitting the Big N and the Goblin Spears at the back, and just letting those Seekers run amok and try to finish off the Goblin Great Shaman. If the Seekers are, there's more than enough time for the Big N to move over to stick close to a Goblin Great Shaman. And the Goblin Great Shaman has been like being pushed around for like a good minute or two, maybe even 3 minutes, honestly, and you still haven't gone down yet. There's more than enough time for the Big N just to stand there and push back the Seekers away from the Goblin Great Shaman, and that probably would have done more good. But yeah, it seems like the Big N is still holding on strong here, slapping whatever nearby, and I reckon he can probably try and push the Herald of Change too. But yeah, right now the Demons of Chaos are just trying to keep that Big N occupied so that they can get that ticket victory. The Big N is smashing whatever comes towards him, but he's not getting the tickets, he's not capturing the victory point, he is also losing out on balance of power as he's constantly getting recharged by all those armor-piercing damage. Surround the... Oh! No, he also activated the rock. He might have activated the ammo recharge, which takes out some of his HP as well. Oh no, that was not worth it. I swear. Yeah, anyways, yeah, the Big N tried to carry in the late game, just not quite enough. And the Boy Big Ns probably have gotten charged by the Seekers. And they didn't actually hold on long as well. The backline Airboys, the Orc Big Ns did okay, with some Ichinus in support. But yeah, the Goblin Great Shaman constantly pushing, overextended quite a bit, staying way too far from his own infantry support and got isolated and surrounded, which is quite unfortunate there. As for the Demons of Chaos, seems like the Seekers are still the carry of the faction, doing a lot of good work there, running down the enemy backline and picking off the enemy mobility with their armor piercing and superior melee combat stats. Furies, some of them, oh, these guys killed off a lot of Orc Airboys. But yeah, you can see the Bloodletters didn't do a whole lot, and the Blue Horrors also got tied down by Goblins or smacked by those Orc Big Ns. Herald of Tinge of Metal did some really good damage with those Final Transmutation and the missile attacks against the Lava Spider. And yeah, that's it for this one. Next up, we have Grim Bat versus Spotify. Warriors of Chaos from Grimbat here, front line of Marauders, 3 Hellstriders, 4 Marauder Horsemen, 2 Horsemasters, and 1 Rotting Riders. Leading the army is Valkyrie the Bloody Wolf, a Metal Sorcerer support. As for Corn Army from Unlucky Spotify, that is an Exalted Bloodthirster plus a line of 5 Heavy Metal Warriors. That might be a bit of a problem. Searing Doom is gonna make them pay. We don't have any Searing Doom though, so I guess the Final Transmutation is there to kill the enemy single entities, which, yeah, the Exalted Bloodthirster will be quite vulnerable to, even after the spell resistance. But yeah, anyways, Blood Beasts of Khorne for some monstrous presence, and that's it for the armies on both sides. To be fair, Exalted Bloodthirster with less than 9,000 HP, it's not exactly the tankiest monster in the world. So yeah, Final Transmutation can do some good work against them, since you also want to use Final Transmutation to kill Scabrand. But yeah, Hellstrider is jumping in, managing to catch some Warhounds of Khorne, and we're just getting an early win there, as the Warhounds are a bit overcommitted to try and chase down the Marauders, allowing the Hellstriders to countercharge. Same goes for these Warhounds here. Oh, Hellstriders coming in, these Warhounds are toast, while the Marauder Horsemen are still relatively healthy, all things considered. Yeah, that's not worth it. I mean, the Warhounds are gone. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. while the Chaos Warriors are just holding their ground, we're gonna fast forward here. Nothing much to see. After the Warhounds are down, the Murder Horsemen are just sitting back and shooting at the Warriors. Nah, they want to shoot at the Blood Beast. Yeah, they switch targets, a good choice. Or shoot at the Furies too, that would be a good choice. You can see a Final Transmutation Overcast onto the Exalted Bloodthirster, nuking down his HP plus some Javelin fire support from the Murder Horsemen from the ground. While over here, double Furies and Blood Beasts are all diving in. Oh, actually managing to catch and finish some Hellstriders and the Murder Horsemen. So a lot of resources committed over here. Same goes for these Furies, moving from the left flank to the right, just to deal with the enemy Murder Horsemen, knowing that Korn doesn't really have the tools to deal with enemy kiting. Oh no! What happened to these Blood Beasts? Getting way too ahead of themselves, trying to chase after Hellstriders, but now they're isolated. I mean, yeah, they definitely overextended. And now fighting Hellstriders, which are anti-large in the front, and getting shot by Javelins from the back. And yeah, these Blood Beasts are not long for this world. Same goes for these Blood Beasts here. Rotting Riders managed to execute a counter charge, finish on off yet another Blood Beast, and balance of power is already against Korn. Exalted Bloodthirster being forced to respawn while the Chaos Warriors are still sitting back on the capture point. I guess they were just trying to hold the point till the end of time. But things don't exactly... yeah, you can't win by just sitting there idle. A lot of the units here from the Warriors of Chaos are playing very actively, one by one, picking off the assets from the Korn army. And there's less and less tools left for the Korn army to defend that capture point, only down to the Bloodthirster and 4 units of Chaos Warriors. And even the Chaos Warriors who managed to get out and support the Exalted Bloodthirster, they are now surrounded by enemies too. Granted, they do have armor and pretty solid melee stats, so the Hellstriders trying to rear charge them suffered quite a bit of damage. Rotting Riders, though, probably want to start rear charging instead of staying in combat, just to get some more charge impact damage with the armor piercing and charge bonus. Because duking it out against Chaos Warriors like that is not an efficient use of their time. Yeah. Exalted Bloodthirster taking quite a bit of damage over time, trying to go after some other units earlier, and got pursued and harassed by Valkia the Bloody. Now, all the periphery units from the Korn side are gone. All the Furies are dealt with. I mean, there's still 1 unit, but only half a unit left. It's not much of a threat. And Blood Beast, only 1 tattooed unit that will rout anytime, and it is just the Warriors of Chaos, Warriors of Korn, trying to hold the line. I mean, they can hold the line, but there's a lot of different resources going after them right now. Being shot by Javelins, recharged by Murder Horsemen, and they're getting thinned down. Does Valkia have the Spear Slop here? Yes, he does. He only used 1, so maybe 1 more down the line would be nice. Not that she has any other target to use it on anyways. Or maybe it's still on cooldown, I don't know. But yeah, balance of power is in favor of Warriors of Chaos. But the problem is that Korn is actually close to that capture threshold. Time is running out for the Warriors of Chaos, but looks like they still have a couple minutes left, and there's already a chain route from all these Chaos Warriors. This one routes, and the other nearby will also route. And then, yeah, it's just gonna be army losses before the battle is over. Yeah, I think there was Relentless Rage keeping the Exalted Bloodthirster alive. That's the tier 2 Korn army ability, but unfortunately it has a limited time, and once it runs out, it's the end for the Exalted Bloodthirster as well. Balance of power, yeah, I mean, as much as the Chaos Warriors could have held on, the Exalted Bloodthirster was too injured to hold up the balance of power, and the balance of power kicked in with army losses. And yeah, I feel like heavy infantry is just unfortunately not quite the meta. They are too slow. I mean, they have excellent holding power, but they're too slow. They can't catch up to the enemy, and they can't pressure the enemy. So by relying a lot on that heavy infantry, you're giving your opponent a lot of that initiative on the battlefield. Like, you can't charge the enemy, you have to wait for the enemy to charge you. So your opponent can pick where and when to engage. You just have to respond. Yeah. And with only limited, and Chaos Warriors are not cheap as well, so there's a limited investment in the mobility. And everything got kited out from the Khorne's units. A lot of them got kited out. Yeah, I forgot about them though. Oh yeah, that was unfortunate. Those blood beasts dying a horrible, horrible death. But yeah, the Chaos. Oh yeah, the Chaos Sorcerer of Metal did get sniped out, but that was after a final transmutation has already been cast, so the damage has been dealt with. But yeah, at least you denied him from another final transmutation upgraded, so that's good. Unfortunately, it's just heavy infantry is just not the way to go these days, unless you're dwarves. Then you have cheap and cheerful heavy infantry, or if you're the Chaos Dwarves with the Infernal Irons one. But overall, just getting kited, pretty bad. And a lot of the units overextended and got picked off from the Khorne side. Next up, we have Tomb Kings versus Undead Grind. Oh no! I mean, this Undead Grind is not great for the vampire count, to say the least. Yeah. Alright, let's see. Let's slow down a bit. For the vampire counts, a front line of zombies and just some more grave gods. Going very cheap on the infantry department. All the money went into the monsters, which are 4 freaking Vargeist and 1 Crypt Horus, plus Manfred von Karstein on a zombie dragon, which is quite expensive. Doesn't have a sword. Oh wait, no, he has a sword of unholy power, so if he's in melee, he can regenerate magic, which comes in really handy. Invocation of Nahak, Raise Dead, Valhal's Dance Macabre to boost the melee damage output, and also Pestilent Breath. That's the firing belts for the vampire counts. For the Tomb Kings, a line of Skeleton Warriors, second line of Skeleton Archers, supported by a couple of Screaming Skull Catapults. Probably trying to use them to clear out enemy infantry, and 3 units of Necropolis Knights to guard the backline. 1 Bone Giant ready to snipe enemy monsters with that precision fire, leading the army Arcane to black. Oh, there's also the Blessed Legion of Kef and Necropolis Knights nearby as well. We shall see what happens here. There's a lot of firepower from the Tomb King side, but looks like they just gave up on protecting the Screaming Skulls and are just moving the infantry forward and trying to meet the enemy in melee. Screaming Skulls, unfortunately, have very questionable accuracy. Being occupied by the, being operated by the dead, you don't expect a dead person to have much hand-eye coordination, I assume. There's also a couple unholy, one unholy little stone and 1 bale fire corpse god on the Tomb King side. But yeah, the Vargeist are immediately beelining for the Tomb King's backline, dropping some Vargeist onto those Necropolis Knights, making sure that they can't go and help those Screaming Skull Catapults. And now the Vampire units are just dive bombing this 1 unit of Necropolis Knights, while the other Necropolis Knights are too busy trying to push the enemy flank. Killing a bunch of zombies and also doing a lot of damage on Holy Loathsome Postcards, but Crypt Horus, 2 units of them actually on the field, are coming in to pin them down with their mass. And Blast Legion, probably got breath attacked by Manfred. No? No? Oh yeah, Devils of Treadsoften charge in, so that makes sense why they're so weakened. But yeah, the Vargeist are just so fragile. I honestly don't like playing with them, just because they die so fast to anything, really. Devils of Soften are also being targeted by the Bone Giant, which explains why they're so weak right now. But 1 unit of Screaming Skull Catapults is down, the other would soon follow, as the Vargeist have been clearing out those Tomb King's artillery. Tomb King's Skeleton Warriors are holding the front line, killing zombies just fine, but the problem is their mobility are running a bit thin. Taking quite a bit of damage there, fighting against Crypt Horus with infantry support. Things are not looking great for these Necropolis Knights here, being ganged up on by a bunch of Vargeist and also Manfred himself. Manfred getting Spirit Leaf drained, but he does have that hunger. If he goes into melee, he can self-regenerate not only magic but also HP. So he simply have to go into melee against some skeletons and he will. Oh no! Oh, never mind. Some of the breath attack definitely hit the tree, but The rest hit the ground and kill off a bunch of skeleton warriors. But yeah, either ways, the Manfred von Kostine is gonna go into melee and trying to get some healing for himself with that hunger. At the back there, Crypt Horus fighting around that card is it's definitely a nightmare for these Necropolis Knights. Necropolis Knights don't exactly have the most excellent anti-lodge stats against Crypt Horus. These are just regular Necropolis Knights after all. And the Crypt Horus getting that Vigor Mortis and regeneration on their own plus stat on Holy Lodestone. That's 0.15% HP per second. Oh, 15 HP per second. Now, plus a little bit more melee defense for themselves now. And Necropolis Knights, they're not actually doing a whole lot of damage to Crypt Horus. They are actually losing this combat. Very unfortunate there. They need to get out and maybe turn around and try and fight those Devils of Surfing somewhere else instead. But yeah, things are not looking great for the Tomb Kings. They're really struggling to deal with the enemy monsters as they're being out-healed every turn of combat. But at least there are some skeleton archers who have managed to retreat to safety and now shooting at the Vargheists. And as you can see, Vargheists are just so fragile. I mean, they're almost heal capping though. For the Devils of Shadowsovereign, definitely receiving some Invocation of the Hack earlier, but yeah, they're just so fragile. A couple volleys of these half-dead, near-death skeleton archers can knock out quite a bit of their HP. On the far side, unfortunately, Arcane the Black is in a lot of trouble. Manfred is going after him. Arcane the Black on the horseback only. He is he's not enjoying his fight against a zombie dragon. We're gonna fast forward here. It's a bit of a grind phase. The Tomb King's infantry support is mostly gone as the zombies who have received quite a bit of Vigor Mortis support and just having more numbers manage to outgrind the enemy skeletons. And the Bone Giant is still relatively healthy, now realizing that he needs to kill Manfred to deny enemy from spell casting. We'll use the last bit of his ammo to... Ooh, okay, did a really good shot onto the Vargheists, but the Invocation of the Hack will bring some of their lost HP back. And now, last shot, oh no, missed! And the rest of the infantry here got ganged up on by a bunch of the remaining Vargheists and Manfred jumping in as well. And that is going to be army losses. But yeah, Vargheists for once actually did a good job running down the enemy assets at the back line there. And for once, these Crypt Horus actually do their job. Actually didn't lose any HP by the end of the game due to all this passive heals, as the Necropolis Knights not really geared to fight them. The Skeleton Archers were the main damage dealer of today's battle, and also the Bone Giant, but unfortunately the Screaming Skull Catapults did very minimal damage, only tickled a bunch of zombies on their way in, and then they got shut down by the Vargheists, which was quite unfortunate. Spirit Leech from the Arcane the Black did some damage over time, but yeah, definitely needed to protect those Skeleton Archers a bit better. And Screaming Skull Catapults, unfortunately, just absolute shite as an artillery. Definitely do not bring them in any circumstances, unless you want to meme. Then that's different. But yeah, overall, oh right, the Grave Gods, they outclass enemy skeletons for sure, so that's why they survived to the end. Zombies are mostly dead. It's just a Grave God holding on till the end, and then cleaning out enemy skeletons. Vargheists did okay. But yeah, mostly the Crypt Horus holding down the enemy and just everything out-healing anything on the side of the Tomb Kings, with all those Invocation of the Hex spam from Manfred as well, being able to just spam magic with the Sword of Unholy Power. Alright, I think we have replaced from round 3. Yes, we do. Let me just quickly download everything. And I'll cast the next stuff. Alright, Nurgle versus Ogres, and there are some Plogers on the field too. Let's see what happens here. Adam TM versus Gormborn. Adam TM going with 3 Nobblers, 2 Pickback Riders, 2 Nobbler Trappers, 1 Iron Guts, 1 Bogglers of the Marshes, or of the Wet Marshes. Forgot the exact name. Don't usually see it. Bogglers of the Mad Marshes, and a couple 1 Nut Belchers, 1 Man Eaters with pistols, and actually a second lead belcher. So quite a bit of firepower. I probably would just bring 4 lead belchers in this matchup. But yeah, let's see what happens in this one here. A couple crushes with great weapons to guard the back line. I remember seeing a second one. Yep, there we go. And yeah, that's it for the main army of the ogres. Okay, actually, leadership of the ogres, Slaughtermaster with Lord of Beasts with Flock of Doom. I don't know if this is gonna work. After all, this is Nurgle, so they do have a lot of healing. On the other side of the battlefield for the Nurgle army, a couple of Vanguard deployed Furies and Forsaken? No. Just only 2 Marauders and 1 Forsaken, Rotting Riders, 1 Plogers, the Plague Ogres with great weapons leading the army. Oh, Rotting Riders leading the army, Chaos Lord of Nurgle, and the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle with Rancid Visitations and Stream of Corruption. So a damage output spell loadout plus a cultist with the Plague Bearer Summon. Plague Bearer Summon to maybe silence enemy missiles. I don't know. I feel like this Nurgle army is already in a bit of a disadvantage, severely being outranged. Furies are jumping into the back line, but they're dropping onto Nobblers. No. Yep, they're screwed. They can't kill off the Nobbler fast enough, especially when there's a second unit of Nobbler nearby. You just keep them to just shoot them down. And Iron Guts already opening. Iron Guts are holding back, protecting the backline. Lead Belchers and Ogre Pistols focusing fire that Rotting Riders, and that Rotting Riders is absolutely getting nuked to bits, torn apart by the enemy gunpowder. But at least the Marauders and Forsaken are getting through. But great weapon crushers are getting into the back line, no? So the Nurgle army has to be careful. One of them is taking quite a bit of damage from the Plague Ogres with great weapons. After all, that is an anti-large armor-piercing unit with immune to psychology. It is essentially Manitou with great weapons, so it's performing really well. But the Lead Belchers are so deadly against multi-entity units, multi-model units. The Rotting Riders are getting absolutely nuked down to the last 17 models. But looks like the Forsaken managed to get through the Nobblers, and with the Cultists jumping in and the Furies dropping in as well, picked off 1 Lead Belcher, but there's still 1 more Ogre Pistol and 1 Lead Belcher nearby, so they might be able to turn around and start firing and annihilate those Forsaken. A second unit of Crushers with great weapons have committed to this fight. Oh no! I don't know if they probably did not get a charge order onto the Plogers with great weapons, so they didn't get a charge instead of being bogged down by those Barons of the Bog. Ha, no pun intended. Pun definitely not intended, and are getting absolutely slapped by those anti-large armor-piercing damage of the Plogers, great weapons. However, the Lead Belchers and the Ogre Pistols can still do some good work. Forsaken decided not to go after other units of Lead Belchers. Might have been a big mistake here, as the Lead Belchers are still very much the biggest threat against Nurgle on the field right now. Nurgle Lord trying to go after the great weapons crushers, trying to make sure they are routed and never come back. Oh, these Manitas Ogre Pistols are now exposed. The crushers being a little bit recklessly thrown into combat and getting countercharged by Plogers with weapons. Not great for them, and that also removed any protection for the Ogre's backline here. Other than the Iron Guts are now kind of preoccupied with summoned Plague Bearers. So the Manita Pistols here are trying to get away from the Plogers and Barons of the Bog, but they're not exactly successful. The Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle does have a mount. Oh, that's the Rot Beast. Yeah, so they're faster than the Man-Eater's Ogre Pistols. Lead Belchers at least are providing fire support, picking out some of these Plogers and Barons of the Bog from afar. And now the rear charge from those Crushers with great weapons. The one that is still surviving, not the one that routed earlier and got chased off by the Chaos Lord of Nurgle. Yeah, that surviving great weapon Crushers are able to get back and tie down those Barons of the Bog and Plogers. But the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle managed to get onto the Man-Eater's Ogre Pistols. Okay, yeah, that firepower is silenced for now, but these Lead Belchers are still very, very much healthy and are free to fire at whatever targets they want. Balance of power might be even, but I think the Ogres might have a slight advantage here. Man-Eater's Ogre Pistols are just duking out against the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle here. trying to surround and beat him down, and the Crushers, despite taking so much damage throughout the battle and not having any active healing spells on the field for them, they manage to crush those Plogers. And yeah, the Nurgle cultists are now trying to go after the Left Belchers perhaps, but the Iron Guts are just gonna pin him down with the mass advantage here. A lot of Fed Baddies surrounding him. And yes, Slaughtermaster of Beasts being targeted by the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle. And also the Plogers that have regrouped. Oh no. The Slaughtermaster is in big trouble. Ogre Pistols are shooting in, trying to pick off some HP from the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle here. But their Lord might just get routed and dealt with. And they have immune to contact effect, but they did not bring the Bloody Cleavers, so there's no self-heal for the Slaughtermaster. There is a meat feast, but it's coming in a second too late, unfortunately. It's giving the Slaughtermaster the heal, but he's not gonna stay in the fight, and the Sorcerer of Nurgle will commit to chase him down. But oh no, it looks like the Lead Belchers are turning this one around, actually routing the Sorcerer of Nurgle here with those long-range attacks. Doing really good damage with those armor-piercing cannonballs. Barons of the Balk here are trying to block them down, but it's too late. The Slaughtermaster has returned, and we're going into fast forward here. So the Lead Belchers, the final Lead Belchers, unfortunately will be routed, but I don't think the Nurgle army has the resources to fully commit to chasing them down before, yeah. Let's see what happens here, as the Iron Guts are doing some good work against the cultists. Yeah, over here, the Lead Belchers will be hounded by... Oh, looks like the Ogres are in pretty big trouble. Army losses is coming in close, and that is going to be GG. As the Barons of the Balk carry this game, damn. I thought the Lead Belchers could have tried carrying it, but unfortunately the rest of the Ogre army didn't quite hold up. Wait, hold up. Yeah, throwing away one of the Crushers early was really hurtful in at the start. But yeah, the Firepower tried to hold on, tried to carry it, but was there a heal somewhere? The Chaos Lord of Nurgle is still being very healthy, definitely played a big part into the high balance of power of Nurgle, but yeah, I feel like the Ogres still have a chance. Hold on, I'm just gonna quickly jump back in for a quick fast forward and all. Yeah, what happened in the end? Looks like Nurgle going to win. Yeah, I thought the Ogres would have had it, but maybe it's just my bias for the Ogre Kingdoms, to be honest. But yeah, losing the Crushers that early in the game was very painful for the Ogre Kingdoms, especially when you don't have any healing to support them. Like, yeah. I'm gonna quickly fast forward some of these. Alright, the Barons of the Balk does not have passive heal. Oh, they do have Vigor Refresh. Huh. Interesting. And does this guy have self-heal? No, he doesn't. But he's still almost full health by the end of the game, so there's not much to challenge him in combat. Or at least the Crushers here. Just duking out against the Plogers in melee like that was not great for them for sure. As the Plogers do have that anti-large armor piercing, and the Barons of the Balk are there to provide some solid body blocking, having some solid melee defense and holding power and all that. But yeah, like, I think the Ogres are still having a pretty good chance to win when they crush those Barons of the Balk and Plogers here. Oh, right. The Crushers then broke off afterwards, after taking too much damage in the middle of those Barons of the Balk. Oh, man, they got beaten up by Barons of the Balk. Unfortunate. But yeah, after that, the Lead Belchers have been compromised and losing quite a bit of balance of power. And there's no more melee presence other than the Iron Guts on the field. And yeah. What was like 70% over? Okay, yeah, I definitely misjudged the battle because of my Ogre bias, I think. Yeah. The Crushers, losing those Crushers was really painful for the Ogre Kingdoms. The light belchers could do all the damage, but there's nothing to protect them. And there's nothing to finish off the Chaos Lord as well once the Crushers are gone. So when you're investing so much in these expensive entities, you probably want healing to keep them in a fight, other than Flock of Doom. Yeah, sure, the Flock of Dooms did pretty good damage, but that was just not enough. Especially not against the Plogers here. Getting 1,000, almost 700 gold worth of damage value, basically hard carrying the battle. The Rotting Riders, though, they got fucked hard from being focused fire from all the lead belchers. The Barons of Bulk are surprisingly good in this one battle, though. I was not expecting that, honestly. Yeah. Beating up multiple units of Crushers in melee, too. Alright. Next up, what's next? Wait, hold on. Yeah, Skaven versus Demons of Chaos. Oh, Skaven going with 2 Warp Lightning Cannon. That is a very, very risky move. Because Demons of Chaos essentially, oh, you can see so much mobility for them. Not only do they have Furies and the Seekers, they also have Flash Hounds. So 8 total mobility on the Demon's army, and then 4 units of Blue Horrors, one of them the Chromatic Abomination, 2 more Blood Lattice leading the army, Herald of Tzeentch with Blue Fire, Pink Fires, and Greater Arcane Conduit. On the other side of the battlefield, Clamorous Spears. Wait, that's normal Arcane Conduit, actually. But yeah, anyways, for the Skavens, the front line of Clamorous Spears, very similar battle formation. Skaven Slave Slingers and some Poison Globes, but this time they're guarding the AK Zap Zap. No Jezzails. And Red Ogres plus leading the army, Queek Hat Taker. Haven't seen you in a while. Why are you here today? He's a pretty good fighter, but unfortunately a Foot Lord these days are just not that much of utility on the battlefield. Warlock Engineer with Howling Warp Gale and Cleansing Ruin with Doom Rocket as well. I don't think I've seen it performing well. I don't think I've seen this item performing well in battle, but we shall see here. Warp Lightning Cannon's already opening fire, but not a whole lot of good targets for them. Blue Fire immediately opened up onto the Ikig Zap Zap. But Ikig Zap Zap being Regiment of Renown, I guess it's slightly sturdier than regular Warp Lightning Cannon. Tank the damage. But yeah, they just don't have a good target to shoot at right now. All the mobility are hiding in the forest, hiding or just staying all the way on the other side of the map. And it's gonna take them forever to turn around and shoot at the enemy mobility. So yeah, they're just shooting at the enemy infantry, not doing a whole lot of damage as they are designed more to kill monsters, not infantry or small size models. And I think the disc is still having a bit of a visual bug. You can see the guy is just floating in his eyes, not having anything to carry him whatsoever. Oh, there's a Help Abomination. So a single entity here from the demons. Oh no, the Demons of Chaos coming in with that mass mobility, charging the Red Ogres. The Red Ogres did not get a charge, and there's no infantry support for them. Immediately getting nuked down in this melee scenario, surrounded by all those Heart Seekers. And the Poison Globes didn't even have a good chance to chuck out too much damage, and the Blood Letters of Khorne are onto them. Blood Letters of Khorne, as much as I talk shit about them, they are still anti-infantry armor piercing. Excellent for killing those Poison Globes. And Blue Horrors are coming in as well, ready to fire onto those Skaven formation. Immediately, the Skaven box is just collapsing, being shot up and annihilated by those Blue Horrors, and also a bit of chip damage from those Pink Fire spam as well. Ikig Zap Zap is still online, which is quite surprising. And that means that it's able to now try and pick off that Herald of Tzeentch. That Herald of Tzeentch probably better off just to go into the forest, just hide behind a tree or something at this point. And stay the hell away from that Ikig Zap Zap. That looks like the Herald of Tzeentch has been committed to some juking and managed to dodge a couple of shots. buying enough time for the Seekers to charge into the back here and take down the King Zepsat. And balance of power is in the Demon's favor already, and I do agree. The whole Skaven box has just fallen apart. All their missile and troops has been compromised, unable to provide any more fire support, and Kick Claw, no, Queer Hat Taker. Wait, no, what? Quick Hat Taker, what the fuck am I talking about? Yeah, Quick Hat Taker here, Queer Hat Taker. Quick Hat Taker, but dressed in rainbow colors instead of red. But anyways, yeah, enough of jokes. Quick Hat Taker, yeah, he's just gonna get surrounded. I don't see a way for him to get out of there. Hat Taker, yeah. Quick Hat Taker there, yeah, he's surrounded, and yeah, I don't see a way for him to get out of there, as the Hellpit Abomination has been surrounded and routed, being swarmed by those Heartseekers. There's little doubt it's going to be a Demons of Chaos victory, as the Demons managed to crush that Skaven box extremely efficiently. Yeah. Alright, next up, let's see. Actually, not a whole lot of damage here. Yeah, not a whole lot of damage for the Skavens as expected. Especially Warp Lightning Cannon not having any optimal targets to shoot at. Just shooting at infantry is not what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to kill monsters with their armor piercing and high missile strength. But all the mobility here, the Flash Hounds, the Seekers are all just swarming the back line. Which is why you see a lot of players going with Skaven Kite build, with a lot of Night Runners and Gutter Runners, instead of going with artillery or weapons teams against Demons. Yeah, the Warp Lightning Cannon, them. Not having a good time whatsoever. And the Seekers are basically carrying the game here, just swarming the enemy Red Ogres as they are... as the Skavens were not able to respond in time against the mobility threat, getting absolutely hit hard in the back, as Slaanesh intended. Alright, next up we have Warriors of Chaos versus Tomb Kings here. Oh shit, the battles are already on round 4. We still have a lot of replays. Oh boy. Oh boy. Alright. Let's see. These are round 1, round 2. Yep, round 3 here. Here we go.
Konbanwa!
Oh, no. Nobody heard that. What the fuck happened there? What the fuck happened there? Yeah, nobody heard that. Nobody heard that. Yeah, anyways. Man, I might have to, I'm gonna have to cut that one out. And anyways, army builds here, a front line of alright. For the army builds here, we have a line of yeah, I'm a Vutiver fan. Shut the fuck up. A front line of Marauders and Forsaken at the back there. Also, I'm an anime fan. Yeah, there's that too. That's why you don't have tabs open at the back, fuck's sake. Yeah, Hellstriders on the flank mobility, providing that flanking maneuver against the Tomb Kings. Marauder Horsemen there with throwing axes. That's a lot of armor piercing. Definitely ready to go up against a bunch of constructs there. Leading the army, Keel Saucer, Lord of Metal, and Rotting Riders. Forsaken, yeah, just a bunch of infantry to deal with skeletons otherwise. Leading the army is the Keel Saucer, Lord of Metal. Providing that final transmutation and armor reduction. I don't think there's any need for Plague of Rust here, because you already have a bunch of armor piercing. I guess for the Hellstriders to put a bit more damage in, I guess. Oh yeah, that probably would be good. Dropping the Plague of Rust onto Necropolis Knights and then throw in the Hellstriders would be good. A front line of Skeleton Spears and backed up by a bunch of Blessed Legion of Faketh, Skeleton Archers, and Screaming Skull Catapults at the back, guarded by Tomb Gods. Oh, immediately, these Necropolis Knights charging into the Hellstriders. No Plague of Rust support so far. Oh, the Hellstriders are just dying. And oh no, the Marauder Horsemen. they're blobbing up a bit heavily, yeah, a bit too heavily, and they're just getting hit by the Screaming Skull catapults. For one, Screaming Skull catapults are doing work. Screaming Skulls, oh no, the Rotor Horsemen spread out. The Liber Mortis as well, dropping on the Necropolis Knights, keeping them healthy, giving them that 40% physical resistance, tanking enemy damage. Necropolis Knights there, getting hit by throwing axes, yeah, which is faring a little bit worse, not receiving any fire support from the Screaming Skulls or the Liber Mortis. So, yeah, the infantry front line wise, Forsaken having a good time punching down skeletons, and one Hell's Rider's managed to get through the back line, jumping onto the enemy skeleton archers, but there are some skeleton warrior summon just being dumped back there. Not sure why, but I guess preemptively dropping them into maybe protect some of these archers. But yeah, the archers are still getting hit hard, and over here, the Necropolis Knights are now receiving the attention of a lot of throwing axes and the Rotting Riders, which they're not enjoying for sure. And taking quite a bit of damage. Final Transmutation onto Arcane the Black, a good choice. But something has to be done about the artillery at the back. And the throwing axes are just sitting back, getting shot, which is not what they really want to do here. Yeah, I feel like it might even be worth it to just throw a throwing axes into some of these Screaming Skulls, just to keep them from firing at more of the throwing axes. Because right now 2 units are getting shut down. I guess the Tomb Kings are still being around, which is a major concern for the throwing axes. But the balance of power is in favor of the Tomb Kings now. Bone Giants and all that are doing a lot of good damage. Just send these throwing axes into the Screaming Skulls, man. Yes, move up. No. Yeah, get the attack order in, charge in, and silence them. There's nothing to protect them at the back, and the same goes for this Murder Horseman could have commit to the front line, commit into the Screaming Skulls earlier as well. But unfortunately, that was not the case here, and yeah, the Screaming Skulls were able to just keep firing. Even then, they struggled to earn back without too much value here. But yeah, I feel like definitely should have sent more mobility into the back line. Forsaken are doing all right. They excel against skeletons and all. And Spirit Leech over time is draining down the Chaos Saucer Lord of Metal. That is not great. And the Rotting Riders are also being picked off by the Bone Giant. Oh wait, the Bone Giant is trying to pick off the Chaos Saucer Lord of Metal. He needs to get out and hide behind a tree. No. Yeah, he needs to hide behind a tree until... Oh no, until he gets enough magic for another Final Transmutation. Murder Horsemen are being seen off by those Screaming Skull attacks. Oh, Hell's Rider is going for that YOLO charge, trying to take out more of these Screaming Skull, or at least knock them out of commission for now. But yeah, oh man, these units needs to keep pushing, needs to keep getting those attacking order onto enemy units. Now Forsaken are going in. Forsaken, even up against Tomb Guards, should be able to do okay, since the Tomb Guards doesn't have the most armor at only 55. Relatively more armored than your typical skeletons, but still not that armored. But yeah, unfortunately, a lot of these mobility assets from the Chaos Army has been delayed for a little too long, and the skeleton archers have been doing some good damage over time, just shooting up a lot of nearby units. And the Screaming Skulls, for once, able to get some good damage. And yeah, that was just unfortunate for the... Oh yeah, they are taking out Arcane the Black. This might be key here. If they can just put Arcane the Black into that negative leadership and start that crumbling. But Liber Mortis keeping his leadership on the positive end, barely holding on with Arcane the Black, and there's no assets nearby from the Warriors of Chaos to take him out. To put... Oh no! Overcast Spirit Leech, is that? Oh no, that might be the killing blow on Arcane the Black, actually. Wait, no, he's still on positive leadership. He is still holding on, inspired by nearby troops, I guess. But oh, the Chaos Saucer of... Well, the Chaos Saucer Lord barely holds on, but he is still being routed off. Yeah. Yep. And the Forsaken are slowly pushing in. Now, of course, the Tomb Guards are still there holding the line. And there's also the Bone Giant providing a single entity presence. But Arcane the Black has finally gone down from crumbling. The Tomb Gods are not going to enjoy duking it out against all those Forsaken. And we're going to fast forward here. As the throwing axes are coming close and start firing at the Bone Giant. Forsaken, yeah, having a good time punching down the Tomb Gods. Normally, if this is like a Ushapti build, the Forsaken would probably struggle, getting bombarded from afar and all that. But the Screaming Skulls are shit, as I said before, so they're not exactly the most efficient in killing enemy infantry. Well, they're just not exactly the most efficient in killing anything, to be honest. And yeah, the Rotting Riders, 5 models left for them, and they're still regenerating, pulling that balance of power up for them, and also swarming those Tomb Gods and shutting down the Bone Giant. Yep. GG. Rotting Riders here getting some good damage, but unfortunately just not enough to... actually, not exactly good damage for themselves. But the Forsaken carried hard, killing off a ton of those skeletons, and slowly grinding their way through all that infantry and punching down the enemy Tomb Gods as well. A little bit unfortunate for the Necropolis Knights on the flanks there, but yeah, they're just not exactly a great mobility. Especially they're being tied down by Hell's Riders and then got shot up by Throwing Axes and countercharged by Rotting Riders. And yeah, the Screaming Skull Cannibals, they managed to fire for most of the battle, or at least throughout half of the battle, and yet they still didn't manage to earn back their worth. They're just such a shit unit, honestly. Don't bring them if you want to play competitively. But if you're just memeing, sure, go ham, go nuts. But yeah, Tomb Gods did well. I mean, I really love them. I really love this halberd defensive infantry. It's just unfortunate that the meta right now is Ushaptis and double cats. Tomb Gods did some really good damage over time. Just holding their ground and grinding down the Hell's Riders, protecting the Screaming Skull catapults. But even with the sacrifice of the Tomb Gods trying to protect the backline there, the Screaming Skulls just not able to carry their own weight, which is the worst thing about this Tomb King Skeleton Artillery. That's why I don't bring them. I don't bring them. Just bring Ushapti, man. Just bring Ushapti. Alright, Khorne versus Tsinj. Unlucky Spotify, they're going with frontline of Forsaken. More Forsaken. Oh, Scar Bloodwrath. Will he perform nicely today, or will he not? We shall see. Dark Horse going with the Changeling. Oh, it looks like we have a triple single entity situation from Khorne. One of them to deny Tsinj from casting spells. Karanak is on the field with the Prey of the Blood God summon and Endless Hunter. Yeah, Brass Collar to silence. No Prey. Oh yeah, there's no Bloodhound summon. Just Prey of the Blood God to pin down enemy units, actually. Forsaken on the front line, and... Ooh, is that a... Oh wait, that's the Scar Bloodwrath. Never mind. Let's slow down a bit as Khorne is just going full speed ahead. Other than that, Throwing Axes and Flash Hounds of Khorne for mobility and some Furies. For the Tsinj army, 4 whole units of Murder Horsemen. As usual, you try to kite Khorne. A front line of Forsaken and Chaos Warriors. And some spawns as well for some infantry presence. Changeling, what is he coming in? As Crone Hellebron trying to out-Khorne Khorne with the help of Kane. We shall see what happens. Yeah. Seems like the Chaos Warriors might actually outclass Khorne melee for once with the help of a different warrior god, a different god of battles and war. Help of Kane. Yeah, took some fun stuff today. That is indeed fun stuff. Gaze of Kane immediately onto one warrior, Chaos Warriors. I feel like you probably want to dump it on here, but that is also a good choice. And you can see the Chaos Warriors are tearing apart these poor Forsaken. With the extra weapon damage and melee attack, it is rampaging the Chaos Warriors, but it's fine. And and the spawns are also punching down the Forsaken. In terms of build roulette, this has not been great for the Khorne army. There's also no spells on Tsinj. Oh no, they're truly getting out-Khorned by Tsinj. Khorne is getting out-Khorned. No. What happened? But unfortunately, a bit of mismicro to the Murder Horsemen. They're getting caught up and by Furies and are taking quite a lot of damage. But at the same time, Crone Hellebron is being pinned down. Oh no, that is a lot of debuffs onto her. Pinned down by the Prey of the Blood God, being pinned down for now, and Scar Bloodwrath with the anti-infantry armor piercing managed to slay that Tsinj leadership, while the Tsinj army managed to secure a melee advantage. Ready? Was a bit of fun shenanigans to love the changer. The changeling is really funny. They snipe Kron so hard. Yeah, Kron is very susceptible. Is very glass cannony, and then when there's a Scar Blood Wrath with all that buffs on her, that is not gonna end well for. Yeah, that is not gonna end well for. Wait. Oh, there's also burst heal. Oh, there's still one use of it as well. We shall see if there's. If it's, it looks like it's coming in for the burst heal. Maybe. I don't know. But either way, she rarely dies surprisingly. She rarely dies surprisingly, or she rarely dies surprisingly. That makes a whole lot of difference. Because when she dies, she is very much expected to die. I mean, no, to be fair, she doesn't die often because she's usually on. I feel like that's because she's usually on. She's usually on Manticore, which helps with the survival. But yeah, the Siege army unfortunately is not able to out-Corn Corn because Crone dies pretty early on, and the rest of the army here, the mobility has been a bit of mismicroed and losing quite a bit of those Murder Horsemen to the Corn Furies, and then Scarborough Wrath and the Forsaken were able to punch down the enemy front line there. I mean, the infantry fight is still a win to Siege, but just everything else is a big loss. Losing out Crone / Changeling, and then all the mobility was pretty outclassed. And there's only infantry left. And Valkyrie is still very much healthy there, and yeah, I think that's gonna be it here. As the cycle charging from Khorne was able to take down the Forsaken, and also pick off the isolated tidbits of that Siege army. Fun 20 all around. That's good to hear. Good to hear you have fun. And it looks like all 4 rounds. Okay, well, there's still one more. Coup de Storm. Okay, at least there's one more anime fan in this. Yeah, in this 20. So I'm not alone, I guess. But yeah, anyways, Valkyrie the Bloody here, getting some solid damage with Scar Blood Wrath sniping out the Changeling. Changeling is just so expensive. He's rarely worth it, but if you're memeing, he's funny to play with for sure. Chaos Knights got some good damage, cycle charging down various units and also the spawns as well. But yeah, Forsaken, even being outclassed by those Kane support, they're still able to hold the ground for a while and let the rest of the army do the work here. Chaos Knights getting some solid work done, and Furies and Flesh Hounds dealt with the mobility. But yeah, mostly just Scarblood Wrath and Forsaken did really well against the spawns and whatnot. But yeah. Oh, both of the spellcasters got sniped probably. Oh, and Karanak, of course, he probably was just staying on top of the cultists, denying him from any spells. So I'm mistaken. There are spellcasting ability in this Siege build. It's just that he was not able to really use much of his spell casting. Thanks to Karanak nearby. That's probably why you probably want to bring your spellcaster on the disc because of that reason, just to stay the hell away from Karanak. Yeah. Are we moving on into the? Okay, let's see. If we're moving on into Ocorn, he should go full into it, but he had kites. Yeah, if you're trying to go for a funny meme idea, might as well just fully commit to it, because. Yeah. Ready for shenanigans? Round 4 shenanigans worth a lot. Yeah, we'll get there eventually. We just still have a lot of replays going through. I'm not gonna cast that just yet. We'll cast that eventually, just not now, because I think we are moving on into the live replay section. Okay, yeah, we have the round 3 replays, round 4 replays. Yeah, we're gonna get. We probably go into the live replays for the final stage. But yeah, right now, let's just go for a slightly faster build. Oh no, is this a double Stonehorn build? That's probably... No, it's not a double Stonehorn build. It's too... Yeah, it's probably... It might be a double Stonehorn build. Let's see. I'm seeing 2 hunters. Usually if you see... It's probably a double Stonehorn build, honestly. But yeah. Yep, double Stonehorn build. Front line of Nobblers and then a bunch of Iron Guts and just a few Nobbler Trappers. Plus a couple Ogre Bulls. It's a very expensive army to go to double Stonehorn with Hunters, so there's only a smaller army, a cheaper army on the field. With Slaughtermaster of the Great Maul coming with only Troll Guts to heal the double Stonehorn to bully those poor Greenskins. Greenskins wise, a front line of Goblins, second line of Salvage or Biggins, trying to beat down the enemy Ogres, I guess. But Ogres versus Greenskin is definitely an Ogre favored matchup, especially if the Ogres bring Lead Belchers to shoot down any Greenskin formation. But there's none of those Lead Belchers on the field today, just a bunch of Goblin Archers. So the Goblin Archers should be safe, including Night Goblin Archers, Orc Borer Biggins, and yeah. That's it for the Greenskin army led by Grimgor Ironhide himself. Funny, it's a fun Lord choice, just that he would struggle against the Ogres because he can't catch up to the Ogre units. He's too slow. But yeah, Salvage Orc Biggins immediately smashing into the front line. They should have no problem beating down Ogres. But the Stonehorn is the main problem right here. Ichi Nuisance is onto the enemy front line. They're dropping those Iron Guts and Ogres damage output. Salvage Orc Biggins immediately punching through the enemy front line, but they don't have much armor, mostly relying on their physical resistance to protect themselves. So the Nobbler Trappers, with their sheer volume of fire, able to do a lot of good damage against the Salvage Orc Biggins. But of course, the Salvage Orc Biggins, if they can get into the back line and start punching down the Nobbler Trappers, they should still be able to get some good damage. They immediately, with the Salvage Orc Biggins fighting Ogre Bulls, the Bulls are immediately getting crushed. The problem is, again, the double Stonehorn. Not much to stop them outside of the Orc Borer Biggins here. So yeah, we shall see what happens. Stonehorn Hunter. Yeah, the Nobblers are extremely busy right now being threatened by some melee, but there are more Ogre Bulls at the back line, providing some extra units to guard that missile assets. Oh no, the Night Goblin Shaman. Again, there's nothing to really stop those Stonehorns Hunters. So they are just free to do whatever the fuck they want. Just roaming the battlefield, bullying the poor Night Goblin Shaman. And Grimgor Ironhide is a bit stuck in the middle of a bunch of Bogglers, of Mad Marshes, and Ogre Bulls. At least the Orc Borer Biggins are able to envelope and break down some Ogre Bulls on the side, but on the other side, with nothing to really stop the Stonehorn Hunters, they are just rampaging through those poor Gobble Archers, and yeah, now the Orc Biggins, Borer Biggins are trying to respawn, but even after being surrounded by anti-armor units, the Hunters can receive some Troll Heal to keep them topped up. That's a painful bit about dealing with the Stonehorn Hunters, especially double of them. They just have heals for days. Now, of course, the Orc Borer Biggins are still able to pin down the Stonehorn Hunter, who is desperately trying to push through the enemy surround. And some Iron Guts are also coming over to try and save them. So yeah, some of the Orc Borer Biggins are pinned down now, but they're still able to beat down the Iron Guts. As more and more Greenskin units regrouped over and try to support that fight, Orc Borer Biggins over here surrounded another Hunter, and there are some Archer support as well, just to deal with those Iron Guts nearby with the Goblin Spears, so that they can free up the Orc Borer Biggins and start surrounding the Stonehorn Hunter again. Ogre Bulls and more Ogre Bulls and the Slaughtermaster duking it against the Grimgor Ironhide. Grimgor Ironhide just thriving in this melee combat as just as Gork and Mork intended. But yeah, the Stonehorn Hunters are coming back over to provide some infantry support now. Just to get some infantry support from nearby Nobblers. But Orc Borer Biggins are performing this round, and they seem to be doing a lot of good damage to those Ogre Bulls. But now they're bullying Grimgor Ironhide with a 2-on-1 engagement. Grimgor is a very good, it's an excellent melee fighter, but against two Stonehorns, yeah, it's a bit much. It's a bit of a tall order even for him. But yeah, that's why you have all these Orc Borer Biggins coming in to help, right? Swarming those double Stonehorn Hunters. Alright, looks like the finals are out, so we're gonna do a bit of fast forward here. As the Stone Hunters, there's little micro going on the field really. It's the double Stone Hunters getting out one Grimgor Ironhide and trying to grind it out against all these Orc Warrior Biggins. And they still have a lot of heal cap left on this one. The other one, not so much. Actually, might get chased down by Grimgor. Never mind, he managed to get out of there. But the Orc Warrior Biggins, unlike Ogres, don't have any healing. So they are running out of HP, running out of leadership. While the Stonehole Hunters can simply retreat and start chugging in their javelins. And try to take down the enemy units from afar. Even if they're running out of melee juice. A little bit of, I feel like that's a little bit of mistake not committing those Orc Warrior Biggins to chase down the Slaughter Master there, allowing him to cast another Trollguts onto the Hunter, onto the Stone Hunter. And now the double Stonehorns are converging and bullying those poor Orc Warrior Biggins. And now Grimgor Ironhide alone can't really stand up to two freaking Stonehorns, even if he manages to heal cap one of the Hunter, but it's so close yet so far. It is gonna be army losses soon, as the rest of the Orc Kingdom's units are just gonna bully what's little left of the Greenskins. I'll never stop advocating for simply getting rid of the knockdown animation for Lords. I think they need to make them less acceptable to knockdown. That's probably what it should be. Knockdown, it's fine. It's just constant ragdolling. It's not great. And a Stonehorn Hunter is a very abusive build after all. If you don't have anything to stop them. So they were just not having... There's just nothing to stop them really. That's... And just running through the entirety of the Greenskin build. Yes, the Stonehorn Hunters were trapped in the middle of a bunch of Orc Warrior Biggins for a while. But once the health of these Orc Warrior Biggins run out, they no longer have the leadership to stay in the fight against a terror-causing unit. And yeah, in the end, they just got terrified and get seen off by those, Stonehorns. Noble Trappers, as always, managed to get some excellent value, being both decent in melee and in range. Especially the Savage Orc Biggins having not much armor to mitigate any of their missiles. They just keep accruing value with their missile attacks, getting some very solid damage overall. And yeah, Stone Hunters carrying the game. Give them knockback resistance. Yeah, that's exactly what it should be. But yeah, anyways, we are going into the live casting section. Yep, they have been waiting for a while. So I'm gonna jump in. Alright, shit. Hope nobody saw that. Alright, it is the Vampire Counts versus Nurgle. No, it's gonna be long. Oh no. It's gonna be a long grind. Oh no. You saw nothing? Good. Alright. Oh, this is gonna be a long fucking grind. Two self-healing factions. Good at playing blob grind. My god. It's time for another Cooper's. Oh, cheers. Oh. Thank you for staying up that late in Down Under to join the 20, actually. Can't have a good 20 action without you guys joining and showing us some good battles. Really appreciate it. Alright, we're just gonna wait for the players to get it sorted. It's gonna be a while. I might actually go and grab a snack. But yeah, give them a few minutes to set up their armies first. Alright, looks like the Vampire Counts are done with their army build, and the Nurgle army is down to their last few... okay, never mind. I was gonna say down to their last few hundred gold spent, but nope. Okay, I think they're done. I think both sides are done. So we're almost ready to jump in. Alright, let's go. It is gonna be super grindy. Unless neither player did bring a grindy build. Oh wait, no, never mind. Neither actually are a grindy build, actually. Chaos Lord of Nurgle with a Chaos Nurgle Sorcerer support. Shit, what are they called again? A triple Forsaken, and then the Regiment of Renowned Nurglings, the Frolicker's Bubonic, that has passive healing for themselves. And then the Plogers with great weapons, a couple Plague Drones of Nurgle for aerial presence up front, and then the Rotting Riders, probably supported by Chaos Lord of Nurgle and Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle with Nurgle Magic. Light Boil to blow up enemy infantry blobs, I guess, and a Stream of Corruption as well. Let's see what happens here, as there is no active heals for Nurgle. And on the other side, Vampire Counts are going a little bit more grindy, which is to be expected. A lot of their faction hinges on those passive regeneration effects. So we have a front line of zombies, backed up by a Mortis Engine and 3 Skeleton Spears, and 1 Necromancer on a Balefire Corpse Guard, probably to try and get that fire damage to cut down enemy healing. While there are also a couple Crypt Horrors, multiple Vargheists in the skies, and 1 Felbat. 3 Vargheists, 1 Felbat. Leading the army is a Von Karstein Vampire Lord, trying to establish that Vampire Count air supremacy. Having that Storm of the Night to pin down enemy flying troops and then swarm them with Vargheists, I assume. Sort of anti-heroes, Pestilent Breath, the Zombie Dragon Breath attack after all. Invocation of Nahag, Flock of Doom, and Van Hell's Dance Macabre. That's it for both sides' army builds. Let's just wait for the battle to begin in that case. Yeah. Oh, actually, let's see what build does the Chaos Lord have. The Father of Blades to nuke enemy melee attack and boost weapon damage nearby. Armor piercing weapon damage too. Rod or Die for melee reflection and leadership, and also Cloud of Flies. Let's see what happens. This is definitely a bit of a Rotting Rider blob build, and the Plague Drones are probably need to stay on the ground. They won't be able to win out the fight in the skies with a whole Von Karstein, Zombie Dragon, and Storm of the Night support there. So yeah, we shall see what happens here. Frolicker's Bubonic and the Forsaken are just beelining for the closest enemy infantry and try to get some damage done, try to start killing undead ASAP. Though there might be a Mortis Engine coming in soon, just to start draining down the enemy troops soon. But they do have to be careful not to be surrounded by the Mortis Engine, making sure everything has infantry support. On the other, ooh, looks like the Vargas got accidentally charged by the plague drones. They should have just initiated a charge against the enemy plague drones, but they instead tried to drop onto the ground for infantry support, skeleton spears. Oh, they might want to just turn around and stay in the fight. Now that the spears are nearby, just to keep the enemy pinned down. And here comes Storm of Night, slowing down the enemy troops, enemy flying troops. And now Felbat and Vargas are swarming this poor plague drone unit. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like the Vargas probably should have just stayed in the fight against the... Oh, there's a Crypt Horror unit I didn't notice. Okay, that explains why they want to drag this fight on the ground, because the Crypt Horrors can maybe try and pull this one back for the Vampire Count's army. Anyways, plague drones are being swarmed in the skies, being pinned down and immobilized by that Storm of the Night after all. Over here, everything is getting drained by the Mortis engine, and because of those Crypt Horrors nearby, and zombies as well, providing those body blocking assets, the Plogers and the Rotting Riders were not able to get close enough to hit up the Mortis engine there. It was probably a breath attack earlier as well against the Rotting Riders. Now the Rotting Riders are hanging back, trying to get some regeneration going. But yeah, the Mortis engine is still chilling in the middle of this whole block, draining down everything around them. For like the double Nurgle characters, the Plogers, not the Rotting Riders because they are staying a little too far. But yeah, overall, not great. Stream of Corruption has been constant from the Nurgle Sorcerer though, just thinning out a lot of those infantry support for the Vampire Counts. And once the Vampire Count infantry support goes down, then the Rotting Riders will have a better time trying to hunt down enemy key targets. Oh shit! That one Ploger, hero of the Nurgle, just barely managing to block the Mortis engine for a bit there, delaying its retreat from the blob of Nurgle characters. Now the Mortis engine is moving away, but I think it might be moving them to the wrong direction. It probably wants to move towards infantry support instead of trying to move away from it. There's nothing else that can provide body blocking for it. Now it is surrounded completely by all these anti-large, armor-piercing, very deadly Rotting Riders, who are just tanking hits from all those Vargas, just to kill off the Mortis engine, making sure that they don't receive any more of those passive heals from the Mortis engine, the Reliquary Binding, and the Reliquary Corruption. Anyways, the Rotting Riders managed to snipe out the Mortis engine, and there's no more passive AoE heal for the Vampire Counts, and more importantly, no more Mortis engine drain onto the Rotting Riders to counteract their healing. Vargas, unfortunately, they have been left in the skies instead of trying to throw everything to save the Mortis engine, and that might bite the Vampire Counts in the back later. We shall see what happens. But yeah, Walk of Doom will be the replacement of the Mortis engine effectors to try and do more direct damage and drain down enemy troops. But now the Rotting Riders are gonna have a pretty good time fighting everything on the field, unless they're overwhelmed and outnumbered at the same time. We shall see. But anyways, Vargas are retreating, and now these Vargas got stuck in the middle of Forsaken. Forsaken has Frenzy, so they can easily beat down the very lightly armored Vargas with their sheer numbers. And the Vargas, even with their hunger healing, it's not going to hold up well. And while at the same time, skeletons are being killed off by the Stream of Corruption, being quite a effective AoE spell as well. This is not great for the Vampire Counts. Balance of Power is in favor of Nurgle now, as the Zombie Dragon and some other healthy Vargas are just too busy fighting other unimportant targets. I don't think. I didn't really see what they're fighting, but I don't see much dead on the field over here as well, so I assume they're not important. But yeah, the more important fight is definitely over here. Roto died, giving everything that reflection, melee reflection, but more importantly, leadership to keep everything in the fight. Vargas diving down, trying to nuke down those Rotting Riders in melee. This might be a better time for... Okay, this blob right here might be a good time for Flock of Doom, but at the same time, the Vampire Counts might need some healing. I don't know. I feel like after the Mortis engine died, it just went downhill for the Vampire Counts from that point on. Just losing the passive healing such an expensive piece that can provide passive healing and Mortis Engine health drain is a very big blow to the Vampire counts. They're doing good damage, breaking some Forsaken, but the Rotting Riders are still healing. They're still fighting strong with 25 models in the fight. Pestilent Breath onto the Rotting Riders might be a huge boon right now, but oh no, Fecundity onto the Nurgle army. Yeah, that is probably it then. That one lone Vargeist is not going to carry it. Another Flock of Doom, but not onto a whole lot of units, especially not onto the Rotting Riders, which might be a bit of a problem. Okay, the Zombie Dragon tried to get back. Von Karstein Vampire Lord tries to get back into the skies, I guess, but the Rotting Riders are nearby and try to gang up on him with the double characters. And the Ploger is nearby too. Ploger being immune to psychology comes in really handy in this kind of late game scenario, not able to be terror routed and just keep staying in the fight. And yeah, that's going to be it here, as the double immune to terror units manage to hold on and duke it out with all those Vampire Counts monster, getting all those anti-large armor piercing damage done in the end game there. Very solid damage from the Plogers and the Rotting Riders, carrying the game hard with the Forsaken punching down all those undead infantry, grinding through them and helping the Nurgle army to kill off all those infantry support. And then without infantry support, the Vargeist, the Crypt Horrors, and more importantly the Mortis Engine are just there for the ticking. Yeah, the Mortis Engine not being ran into the infantry support probably killed it, not gonna lie. Like, it is a very important tool in this Vampire Count build. Not only for draining down the Nurgle army, but also keeping your units alive with that Reliquary Binding, with that passive heal. And on top of that, it brings additional power recharge, making the Von Karstein Vampire Lord spellcasting more frequent. So it could have been a very key piece that carried the Vampire Counts here. But unfortunately, they got taken out early, and that is gonna be it for this one battle. Let's see if the other, yeah, with the Nurgle army mostly doing very well, other than the Plague Drones being picked off from the skies. Yep. Okay, let's see if the other lobby is still waiting for us. I need to jump. Oh, okay, I think that is the other semifinals played. So yeah, we are going into the finals, and let me just turn on blocker. And then we can jump in. Wait, why is... No, wait, no. That's the scoreboard. Alright, screen blocker. Let's just go in. Alright, that's probably the outer... Okay, I need to read the password. What? Oh wait, that's... Yeah, that's Conquest. Alright, cool. I think that is the right password, finally. I probably just made some typos earlier. I don't know, man. Alright, we're just gonna have to wait a bit. Nurgle versus Bretonnia. Oh, are we seeing the Nurgle's Grail Knights, basically the Rotting Riders and the Rot Knights. They're basic, like with their damage resistance buff, the Blessing of the Fly Lord. That is a 15% damage resistance that will disappear once they break. So it's essential. Oh wait, no, Unlucky Spotify is not Bretonnia. Sorry, that's a default faction they load into. The faction they're using is Khorne. My bad. But yeah. Unlucky Spotify will be playing as Khorne. And usually this, before Karanak, this is a really painful matchup for Khorne. But after Karanak, suddenly Nurgle can't blob anymore. So yeah, this might... We'll see what happens. We might see some Nurgle kite though. So that's the problem here. That might be a problem. Yeah. We shall see. We shall see. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Dun, 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 dun. Da 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 da. Alright, let me just not hum that in case I got copyright strike or something. Yeah. Great fun matchup. Nurgle has ways, yeah. Does coin into Nurgle feel as bad as coin into VC? Coin into VC isn't exactly bad per se, actually. There's Karanak that can deny enemy from casting spells, from using those Invocation of Nehek and stuff. And Scabran. Oh, Scabran and Karanak is a great combo there. Rage Embodied, just drag those poor. But all that fire versus regen can't be good though. Yeah, for sure. But Nurgle might be able to kite, because if Nurgle can survive with their air game, then they can just Plague Drone everything. Plague Drone Dev Head everything to Dev. Just kite. Like, they can do. The Plague Drone Dev Heads can do a lot of damage to Scabran or any coin ground assets. And there's been like a. Coins just constantly get kited, right? So yeah, we shall see if they're gonna get kited here as well, or if Gornborn are gonna figure out some different ways to deal with corn. Oh man, I'm hungry actually. I need to get some snacks after this. But yeah, the Death has slaps for sure. Because Corn doesn't have any way to counteract those Death's Heads other than bring out their own throwing axes. But at the same time, the Corn throwing axes absolutely sucks again. I mean, in range combat, they absolutely suck. Like, they have dual wielding axes, making them better in melee. But the problem is that normal throwing axes cavalry have that shield. Corn doesn't. So yeah. They just trade worse in a range battle against other mobility assets. Not great for sure. We shall see though. We shall see what happens next. Alright, looks like Unlucky Spotify is done with their build. It is just Gonborn now. Copyright, get him? No, please. No, please, thank you. I already accidentally put on someone else stream. I mean, someone else content on my channel earlier. So, yeah, no, please don't. Alright, cool, we're done. We're seeing Skull Ticker on the field. So, yeah, the coin is going for a full-on rush, but no Scabran, no Karanak. Instead, just for a line of Forsaken with the Bloodweight Berserkers and 4 Furies, 2 Corn Bulls, the Great Weapon Minos. As for the other side, for Nurgle, they are once again going with that Rotting Rider combo. Wait, hold on. Wait, no Rotting Riders? Okay, they still bring Plogers though, so we're seeing quite a lot of Ploger action today. 2 Plogers with great weapons, making them great in anti-large armor-piercing fights. Pestigals and 2 Forsaken, 1 Marauders. Leading the army is a Chaos Lord of Nurgle, supported by a Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle with Nurgle Magic, Curse of Leper, and Stream of Corruption. Curse of Leper to try and make their units more tanky and return those melee damage with that reflection, I guess. But yeah, let's see what happens here. 3 more units of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. Actually, yeah, scattered over the battlefield. But at the same time, Furies are Vanguard deployment units as well, so they can just, yeah, dump them right in the Vanguard deployment zone and drop onto those Marauder Horsemen. We shall see what happens here. But yeah, it is a battle of Forsaken in the front line. And it shall be interesting. Alright, one side is ready. Alright, both sides are ready and battle begins. Throwing axes, Marauder Horsemen are chugging their axes onto the Furies, but Furies, noticing them being there in the Vanguard deployment zone, will immediately try to chase after them. But of course, Marauder Horsemen, being quite fast themselves on horseback, will try to retreat to the safety behind their own lines. This one though, unfortunately, got cut off for a bit there, and but yeah, they still managed to get through to the infantry protection just fine. And instead, the Furies are taking quite a bit of damage from those skirmishing fire. Forsaken though, charging straight up into those Pestigors. And these are Khorne Forsaken, so they're excellent in melee. But against a Nurgle Forsaken, their stats, their lack of melee defense might cause a bit of a problem here, especially when they're poison and their weapon damage output has been debuffed. Against Pestigors, they should do fine, but against Nurgle Forsaken, the Khorne Forsaken struggles for a bit there. But here comes Skulltaker and the Bloodwake Berserkers and the Khorne Bulls, smashing in, trying to beat down the enemy troops here. And it is a battle of anti-launch troops as well, as the Blowers are committed to the fight. But Bloodwake Berserkers, though, they're such a powerful unit, absolutely slapping whatever in their path. Oh no, the Skulltaker, though, getting sniped by the double Rot Beast characters of the Nurgle side. But overall, the Nurgle front line is crumbling pretty hard. Forsaken out trading all those Pestigors and Marauders, and the Bloodwake Berserkers are getting an upper hand in the fight. The double Pogers, though, over here are doing some really good work against the Minotaurs, but the Khorne Forsaken are still holding. And with the help of the Minotaurs of Khorne, the Forsaken of Nurgle has been beaten up, and now the Khorne Forsaken can fight the Pogers. And with the Bloodwake Berserker punching through the front line there, this middle section of the Nurgle army has been broken through. Skulltaker is also almost close to activating his skull. Wait, he doesn't have his Cloak of Skulls. So okay, I guess he doesn't have that immune to flanking trait for the battle, but doesn't really matter as he is now receiving support from friendly Minotaurs. And the Bloodwake Berserker still being very much healthy, very much ready to take on more fights. And I don't think Nurgle can win this one, unfortunately. Their throwing axes has just been constantly being hounded by Furies, not really able to sit still and fight. There's nothing really to help screen the enemy mobility on the Nurgle side, being fully committing to those anti-large units, which are quite expensive as well. And so the throwing axes were not able to stay there and just keep shooting and do their work. While the Khorne army able to punch through the front line, absolutely smashing apart those Pestigors and Marauders and even the Nurgle Forsaken. And yeah, this is just a mosh pit right now. Double Plover is duking it out against with some support from Pestigors and the Chaos Lord of Nurgle. But the Bloodwake Forsaken alone can solo everything on the field, as long as the throwing axes are dealt with, honestly. So yeah, the Bloodwake Berserkers are just going to carry this one, I think. Yeah, and that is going to be GG for Nurgle, maybe? Furies have returned from chasing down Murder Horsemen, and are now oh no! Skulltaker got killed. Very relentless character snipe from Nurgle, though, I do have to say. Managing to take down Skulltaker with the double Rot Beast character. The problem is that there's only one single Chaos Lord of Nurgle remaining in the fight now. And that is not going to be even close enough to take down all those Bloodwake Berserkers, still over half health left. And Fury's coming in to support as well. The infantry of Nurgle just got severely outclassed, especially when those Minos jumping into the fight to smash up the Nurgle Forsaken. And the Bloodwake Berserkers as well, don't forget about those. But yeah, I think that's going to be GG here, as the Bloodwake Berserker solos everything. The Furies don't even matter at this point. The Bloodwake Berserker is just going to kill everything. And the Sorcerer of Nurgle not having any spellcasting for low model count infantry units. Yeah, that's just going to be it. Army losses just kicks in because the Bloodwake Berserkers are still there. They still hold. Oh, fuck. Let me just quickly rename this Yep, there we go. Because I want to check what happened to the Murder Horsemen. Yeah. Because they seem to be basically non-existent throughout the battle. Killed some Furies, but they seem to be constantly harassed by them and chased off. And looks like GG to Unlucky Spotify for this win with the Bloodwake Berserkers. Such a powerful melee unit. Cleaving their way through basically everything there and helping the Minos also helped a lot. Smashing the enemy infantry front line and killing a bunch of Plogers. Plogers try to fight back, but unfortunately this Nurgle build just have nothing really to deal with the Bloodwake Berserkers. And can't really outtrade Khorne in the melee combat. Forsaken, with only 2 units of them, they were able to slow down the Khorne Forsaken from doing damage. I guess it's just not enough. Unfortunately, it's just not enough. Like, there's good damage from the Khorne Forsaken overall. As the 2 lone Forsaken from Nurgle side crumbles to the sheer weight of Minos, to the Bloodwake Berserker, and yeah. And also the Blood Bike from Skulltaker as well. The 2 Plogers tried hard, just not quite able to deal with the damn Bloodwake Berserkers there. That was so close. Yeah, that was quite close for sure. But I do think the Bloodwake Berserker being so healthy in the late game give Khorne a massive advantage. I cannot emphasize how much of an advantage those Bloodwake Berserkers are in the late game. With nothing to kill them, like even the Rancid Visitations would really help in that late game to drain down those Bloodwake Berserkers, but there's just nothing to kill them. There's really nothing to kill them in melee from Nurgle. Alright, give me a couple minutes. I'm gonna go a quick snack. I still haven't had dinner yet, so it's 8 now, and my stomach is just in pain. I'll be back. Yeah, I'll be back real quick, but yeah, just let me quickly grab a snack and so my stomach stops hurting. Okay, let's come back for more battles. Alright, I've got some snacks in my stomach, so it's fine for now. I'm gonna quickly rewatch this one just to see what happened with the Murder Horsemen of Nurgle. Oh, looks like we have some post-battle analysis of the finals. When the Minos were fighting the Great Weapon Ogres, the Skull Taker debuff on the Plogers. Oh, that would be very useful. Because it reduces melee defense, right? Yeah. Making them much more vulnerable in melee. Because the Plogers with great weapons are essentially man-eaters with great weapons, right? They have solid melee stats and all. Although I feel like this debuff is a bit early, maybe? I think, okay, that doesn't matter. The Minos are just plowing straight through those for Forsaken and start smashing those Plogers. Oh, yeah. That makes a lot of sense why those Plogers are taking so much damage. I mean, they're still fighting in the middle of Forsaken and all, so yeah. Not great. Both sides are trading quite evenly on that one, but yeah, at the same time, the Murder Horsemen of Nurgle are very busy from the Furies. These ones are probably on skirmishing mode, but I assume these ones aren't. So these ones got caught. And yeah, unfortunately it has been seen off. There's no mobility assets nearby to protect them. They were just always on the run, and Furies are a tad bit faster than the Horsemen, though they do get poisoned when they chase after the Murder Horsemen of Nurgle, so that slows them down a bit. But either ways, these Murder Horsemen don't have skirmish mode, so eventually they're just caught, which is not great. That's why I sometimes do like skirmish mode. Yeah, anyways, sorry. That's why sometimes I do like skirmish mode, because my micro can't keep up with everything. So rather than just leaving those skirmishers to die because I forgot to give them a retreating order, might as well just like put them on skirmish mode and hope that they don't get caught from the weird pathing with the skirmish mode. It's definitely a much better chance of survival with skirmish mode than me trying to intentionally guide them to retreat. So yeah, there's that. If the Furies have burned to death faster, it might have kicked in. Oh, you're talking about the end game, right? But yeah, it was a really close game in the end. Like Skull Taker died, and our dudes have to carry the whole game by themselves. But the Minotaurs are there. I mean, they're very fragile, but yeah, there are some Forsaken, and the Furies are in relative good health. So I think the Bloodwake Berserkers are still pretty solid by the end of the game. Like, yeah, you can see the Furies are still pretty healthy there. Probably less HP than what we're seeing over here, but yeah, they should still be able to hold on. Alright, are you guys ready for another Vampire Counts versus Nurgle replay? Here comes the grind. Alright, while we load in, I'm gonna quickly download all the replay files, actually. I need to do that. Oh, there's a round 3 replay that got missed. Alright, Alright. Hold on. Let me just download everything first. Oh, I think I duplicate some replay downloads, so I'm just gonna delete those. Alright, I think that's all the replays we got. Alright, so for the... Okay, it's another Vampire Counts versus Nurgle replay. We're seeing quite a bit of grinding game here, unless they're not grinding. Yeah. We shall see what happens to these two players. Now, for the vampire counts, once again, we're seeing a very similar build to last time. Zombies in front line, some skeleton warriors, and crypt horrors at back, protecting the Mortis engine. In the skies, multiple Var guys, and leading the army is a Von Karstein Vampire Lord. On the other side of the battlefield, for the Nurgle army, led by Chaos Lord of Nurgle, supported by Chaos Sorcerer Sorcerer of Nurgle, with Fleshy Abundance and Stream of Corruption, Rotting Riders, the usual Rotting Rider combo, Plogers, Chaos Spawn of Nurgle, front line of Forsaken, and Marauders, supported by Occultists, so quite a bit of single entities. Yeah, all three characters are, there are a maximum of 3 characters here, so yeah. And also Nurglings in the front line. Furies in the skies, so almost no aerial presence for the Nurgle army, and the Vargheists should be able to, should be free to do what they want in the skies, maneuver to different positions and do some rear charging and whatnot. Marauders and zombies and Nurglings are just clashing against each other. Storm of Night from the Von Karstein Vampire Lord not having any better target to use it on. Just immediately jump these 4 Chaos Furies with the spell. But unfortunately, the Vargheists took quite a bit of damage in the process, or being debuffed by a bunch of stuff, poison and whatnot. And yeah, Stream of Corruption to clean out the Vampire Count infantry. Still being a quite effective spell there, as the Marauders are holding on for now. Furies are diving in, but the Vargheists are nearby to provide some protection. And Viewers are immediately dying to the Crypt Horrors nearby too. Are we seeing any breath attacks soon? Nope, we're not seeing anything yet. But yeah, the Rotting Riders are jumping in. Oh, an overcast Flock of Doom, very juicy one indeed. It's a double Mortis engine, in fact, really. Mortis engine from the Mortis engine, in fact, and at the same time, Flock of Doom health drain onto this huge blob of a bunch of Nurgle troops. Breath attack not doing a whole lot of damage, unfortunately. For some reason, it just didn't really connect well. So the Zombie Dragon just move over and try to terrify some Marauders instead. Oh, the Necromancer on the is that Balefire? Yeah, Balefire. Course Guard is having a bit of a rough time. The double Rot Beasts plus the Rotting Riders. No, not Rotting Riders. Plogers coming in is absolutely smashing apart that poor Course Guard, being a large target. So Vargheists are committing to trying and pin down and surround these couple of characters here, while the Mortis engine is still thriving on side. Slowly but surely draining out everything nearby. And there's still a lot of infantry providing that support to those Vampire Count monsters and that one construct there. We shall see what happens. Von Karstein Vampire Lord probably want to come back and help out this fight instead of chasing that tattered unit of Marauders. Is not worth his time. And more Flock of Doom health drain. So a lot of Flock of Dooms. We're seeing a lot of health drain on the field here. Is it enough to kill off everything? We shall see, as the Plogers and the Rotting Riders are less susceptible to those health drains, especially the Rotting Riders having that regeneration trait. Vargheists are retreating, trying to get back to the skies and staying away from that Rotting Rider blob. Yeah, they have mostly retreated. Well, what's that breath attack onto the Forsaken? Yeah, that was the second breath attack. Thinning out some more of that Nurgle infantry support, and then the Flock of Doom here, draining down what remains in the field, what remains on the infantry department of that Nurgle army. And yeah, more Marauders are breaking. There's still some zombies on the field, so there's still some infantry support, which allow them to anchor down those Nurgle troops, and then the Vargheists can deliver some rear charges, especially onto these Rotting Riders who have their rear exposed right now. But right now the Vargheists are not going after. Oh, they're trying to go after the cultists. I don't think that's a good idea, because there's too many entities here, and not all of them can make contact with the cultists. You want to kill the Rotting Riders, isolate, and also the Plogers, of course. Isolate and then the characters can just be isolated and surrounded to beat down. But we shall see what happens here. Or you can use the more direct way to do it, is to Von Karstein Vampire Lord this thing. But yeah, right now Vargheists are a bit wasted. Instead of rear charging enemy monsters and cavalry, Yeah, okay, we're in the blob grind phase, so we're gonna fast forward this. Mortis Engine is not getting sniped out as fast as last time because there's still a lot of crypt horrors and zombies nearby, providing that shielding, body blocking for that undead. And yeah, Mortis Engine is just gonna sit back and keep healing the nearby vampire blob, I guess. But he probably want to just go into a fight against the Rotting Riders, maybe? Or, like, just stay near the Rotting Riders and Blogers with Skeleton Warriors shielding it. Because right now it's just doing passive heals and it's not doing anything against enemy units. It needs to keep staying in the fight to drain down nearby units with that Mortis Engine effect. Rotting Riders has been overwhelmed. One charge swarmed by all these Var guys. Even the Father of Blades is not enough to save them here. As they have been routed, so no more damage resistance boost for them. The Blessing of the Fly Lord has been disabled, and it won't turn on again, just like other Bretonnian Ground Knights. Plogers are also being routed, leaving only the single entities duking it out for the Nurgle army here. And they're only single entities, despite Nurgle holding on to the capture point for the first half of the battle. The Vampire Counts, if they can just squeeze more units in, they can start capturing it. But looks like Nurgle still holds on. With but yeah, the characters are routing, and the Varguys will be committed to chase them off, preventing them from coming back. And with only the Chaos Lord of Nurgle still holding in the middle here, it's gonna take him forever to take down the Zombie Dragon. And Army losses hits before then. With the Mortis Engine getting ludicrous value, that's why you want to kill the Mortis Engine first, because leaving it over time will just let it drain down the health of whatever is on the field, including your chaos, your characters, monsters, and infantry, cavalry, and whatnot. And nice cycle charging from the Varguys as well, as there's no aerial presence from the Nurgle army this time to deny the Vampire Counts from delivering those dive bombing. But most importantly, the Von Constantine Vampire Lord so much damage with those Flock of Doom health drains, because the Nurgle army was blobbing quite heavily. A lot of their units are just packed into a very tight, small area. So one Flock of Doom was able to hit like 3 characters, 2 infantry, and then 2 monsters and 1 cavalry and whatnot like that. So yeah, those Flock of Dooms are very deadly overall. And of course the breath attacks and the melee attacks were quite good on the Zombie Dragon too. Plogers tried their bestest, same goes for the Rotting Riders. Rotting Riders is still a little bit gold away from earning back their value, but yeah, the Plogers tried their best, tried their damnedest to bring this one back, but alas, there's just too much passive healing and health drains from the Vampire Counts, unlike the semifinals we saw. Yeah, the Plogers, Nurgle did not kill off the Mortis Engine fast enough, and that led to their doom in the end. Alright. Next up. Wait. I think this might have been a wrong... Oh. This is not a Nurgle, but yeah. Okay. Alright, next up we have Khorne versus... What the fuck? Khorne versus a bunch of Necro Warriors. Alright, and we're seeing more Necropolis Knights and a Bone Giant again. So, fellow Cheetah definitely interested in bringing some non-typical Tomb King's build. For unlucky Spotify here, a line of Marauders, 1 Forsaken, the Hellforge Host. Almost forgot their name, my favorite Chaos Infantry. Yeah. Hellforge Host, an elite anti-infantry unit that can cleave through hordes of opponents with ease. With the anti-infantry bonus and great weapon strength, solid melee stats as well. A front line of Marauders, 1 Forsaken on the right flank, Cultists of Khorne, trying to give surrounding units that damage resistance and extra weapon damage. Leading the army is an Exalted Bloodthirster with a couple of Minotaurs with great weapons in the forest. A front line for the Tomb King's army, a front line of Nekara Warriors, second line of Skeleton Archers, one of them, Blessed Legion of Faketh, and Chosen of the Gods. Necropolis Knights, 2 of them, and 2 more Skeleton Horsemen as well. Bone Giant, we covered that, and leading the army Arcan the Black. Skeleton Archers immediately opening fire onto the Exalted Bloodthirster, trying to chip away his health before he can get into melee. And this Bone Giant already taking some deadly shots onto the Exalted Bloodthirster, forcing the Exalted Bloodthirster to actually come over and try and take this fight to the constructs. Oh, another big hit from the Bone Giant. On the flank though, the Necropolis Knight and Skeleton Horseman are charging forward, trying to disrupt the enemy advance so that it can buy some more time for the Chosen of the Gods to bombard those Hellforge. But unfortunately, they are now under the melee battle with the Exalted Bloodthirster, taking a ton of damage in process as well. Furies have been dropped onto the Skeleton Archers to silence them for now, and Hellforge hosts finally seeing some melee action, providing some infantry support against the Necropolis Knight and Skeleton Horsemen with the help of the Minotaurs. Furies have mostly silenced the enemy Archer firepower. Necro Warriors have no problem beating up regular Marauders, but against the Hellforge host, things might be a bit different. But Hellforge hosts, before they even seen much combat, they have already taken substantial damage below half health, and they're nowhere close to activating their Hungering Blade. So this is gonna be tricky for them. Can they kill off all these Necro Warriors while under the bombardment of the Blessed Legion and the Chosen of the Gods? We shall see. Chosen of the Gods still having 8 models left. The Furies have returned to drag them into a fight. Oh, the map wide heal has. Let's see where the giver of Furious Glory is right now. 58% intensity with. Yeah, 58 intensity. I can't really count how many kills are there. So yeah, it's giving some decent buff at least to the Minotaurs and the Hellforge hosts too, actually. Giving them a bit, maybe? No, they're not close enough for the glory, giver of a Furious Glory. But the Minotaurs have enough though. And the, oh no, and the Necro Warriors dying around them, dying around this cultist is giving, yeah, it's giving the recharge rate a bit of a boost, to say the least. And now the cultists of course might just want to wander over here with 2 whole Necro Warriors nearby to recharge. Anyways, Furies are still just hounding those Tomb King's missile troops, while Exalted Bloodthirster is in a one-on-one duel against the Bone Giant. Somehow missing the attack against the freaking Bone Giant, but yeah, I mean, with the Minotaurs coming in, the Bone Giant is probably not long for this world, and Tomb Kings have nothing really to go up against them. Where were the... Wait, where were the... Oh... Okay, 1 unit of Necropolis Knights have been annihilated by the Minotaurs. The other overchased and have been forgotten on the far side of the battlefield. That was a lethal mistake. They could have been here trying to screen off the Minotaurs maybe. Not that they would win, but it would definitely be helpful. And but yeah, they were just not, they were forgotten and just standing idle while the rest of their army is being hacked to bits. So yeah, we're gonna fast forward here as the Necro Warriors are slowly being attrition down by the Marauders, and over here things are going pretty well for the Hellforge host despite entering the infantry fight with only half health left, less than half health actually. They still managed to get over 100 kills and charge up their Hungering Blades, now just cleaving up whatever's left on the Necro Warriors. Did I just miss the Sword of Khorne? Not that it does a lot of damage against the Necropolis Knights, but its damage is damage and it's nice. Not that there's any... Oh wait, could have used the Horn of Khorne, I guess, to buff up the Minotaurs, but that doesn't really matter at this point. Khorne has this one. The Bone Giant goes down, army losses hits, and everything crumbles dust to dust. Yeah. And that is GG. Minotaurs did a lot of good damage. Hellforge hosts also earned back some worth. But yeah. Unfortunately, the Tomb King's army isn't exactly geared towards this, to deal with a Khorne army like this, especially the Necropolis Knights. One of them died fast, can't really say much about them. The other, yeah. Necropolis Knights, unfortunately, are just overpriced and they underperform. And then there was one Necropolis Knights that was forgotten all the way on the other side of the map, and which was a pretty painful mistake as well. That is gonna be GG here. Very nicely done with the Khorne rush. Bone Giant got some good damage against the Exalted Bloodthirster for sure. Just that nothing really to kill off the rest of the Khorne army. Nothing to kill the Minotaurs and whatnot. So yeah. So the Tomb King's defenses basically crumbled. For real, it was funny, I just wanted to use it though. Those did not have the HP. HP? Wait, HP is what? Hungering Blade? Hellforge Host did activate the Hungering Blade, no? But yeah, anyways, yeah. Nekara Warriors. Yeah. Nekara Warriors are a decent pick against cheap chaff infantry. But against Khorne, you're mostly gonna expect some Minotaurs, throwing axes, and maybe Exalted Bloodthirster. So you definitely want more of a missile heavy build. Like, just get more skeleton infantry, like get more skeleton warriors for the front line, and get some missiles on the side to shoot back at the enemy monsters and whatnot. And of course, you might want to bring the Sphinx of Uzkep because it has fire resistance, which can be useful against stuff like Exalted Bloodthirster or Volkia. Good verse. Oh, they do not have the halberds. They do not have the halberds. Yeah. The knights are the regular ones, so they didn't have the halberd, so they perform, which is part of why they're performing poorly against Minos and whatnot. But even with halberds, they still perform shit in an anti-large fight, so doesn't really matter, I think. Yeah. Like I feel like, in my opinion, Necropolis Knights, as much as I love their design, they kind of just suck. Yeah, that's what I want to say. Alright, next up, we have Warriors of Chaos versus Nurgle. Grimbat versus Gormborn. Grimbat going with Azazel, 2 Marauders, 4 Forsaken, 3 Marauders, Horsemen of Teen, 1 without the Mark of Chaos. I think you can bring 5 in... Yeah, I think you can bring 5 in quick battles now with the default caps, no? But yeah, either ways, either they don't have the money or they don't, or it is still on 4 Mark of Chaos right now. Is this still in 4 Mark of Chaos units in Fruit Rules? I haven't really remembered because I don't play as much Warriors of Chaos these days. Anyways, Marauder Horsemen of Tinge and a couple Chaos Spawns, regular ones. 3 of them actually. Forsaken, 4 of them. Guarding 1 single Hell Cannon. Okay, Hell Cannon, haven't seen you in a while. Well, actually no, we've seen it over the past couple weeks for sure. I played some Hell Cannon myself as the Chaos Dwarfs. But anyways, Azazel coming in with only... You always only bring this 1 Pavane spell and that's it. You don't really need anything else. Alright, Nurgle army. Going for a very tight formation. A front line of Marauders, 1 unit of Frolickers Bubonic, a couple Pestigores, and the Rotting Riders with the Angels of Decay in the sky as well. They have to be careful though, there's a lot of firepower from the Warriors of Chaos side. Leading the army is once again the Chaos Lord of Nurgle with a Nurgle Sorcerer support. A couple Furies on the other side of the battlefield. Oh, this is gonna be a juicy shot from the Hell Cannon. Immediately smashing into the enemy formation, knocking out 1 Rotting Rider model and do some minor damage to the Chaos Lord. But as it continues to rain down fire onto the Rot Knights, this will start leaving a mark on these Rotting Riders. The second shot didn't kill a model though, so it's gonna take some time. But yeah, the warp fire shots from the Marauders. Ooh, no. Oh, all right. So yeah, the Marauder Horsemen shots are still constantly chipping away the health of the Rushing Riders as well, having their armor reduced by that Warp Flame effect by -10. Yeah. Oh no, Pavane. Okay, they're screwed. These Rotting Riders getting too close to the Warriors of Chaos formation and got Pavane by Azazel. Now the Hell Cannons. Oh, looks like the Hell Cannons have been neglected though. 3 dove in and just shut down the Hell Cannon. That was an expensive artillery piece gone. Big mistake from the Warriors of Chaos player there. A very interesting army build, but unfortunately the execution was fell short, as the Hell Cannon was immediately knocked out by the Chaos Furies diving onto the Hell Cannon. And they didn't even pay much of a price either, with nothing responding. Most of the attention from the Warriors of Chaos player was in these Marauder Horsemen. He did not have the money for 4 Mark 3 ones with 3. Makes sense. Yeah. Angels of the Kato sitting at the back there, just killing off the Marauder Horsemen, as the Warriors of Chaos' attention was mostly on this side, neglecting the Hell Cannon and the Marauders Horsemen on the other side. Doing a lot of damage over time to the Rotting Riders, but losing a Marauder Horseman and losing the Hell Cannon, that put a huge dent in their balance of power. And already you can see the Nurgle army is already ahead. I did not see them took it out. I didn't really pay attention either. But yeah. You can see the Chaos Furies got some kill. Yeah. The Hell Cannon is completely out of troops, and yet this Balls Cannon is still very, very excited. Alright, yeah. Enough with looking at balls, but yeah. Marauders are rushing in, Forsaken rushing in. This is the time for a melee fight, as the Rotting Riders, did they just got Pavane once again? Either way, they got drained, they got worked down by a combination of Javelin Crossfire, but now the Furies are diving on them. They need to start running. They need to turn on skirmish mode, if anything. I guess Azazel is coming to help. And the Furies are in that weird shaky animation when they dive down. But yeah, there's a lot of Forsaken for the Nurgle troops to go through. They do have a lot of the Pestigors to provide the armor piercing, but Pestigors have low armor and they would not trade well into Forsaken. Runs of Visitation onto Azazel, definitely a wise choice. Azazel does not have passive heals, and he has a relatively flimsy HP bar. So over time, enough of these deaths hit and runs of Visitations, he will go down. And once he goes down, there's no more Pavane. Balance of Power is in the Nurgle army favor already, as they are slowly outgrinding those Forsaken with their blob of infantry, their own Forsaken? Wait, no, they don't have Forsaken. Marauders and Pestigors just piling onto these Forsaken, and Stream of Corruption would be really nice as well. I don't remember if there's Stream of Corruption being cast on the field, or has it just been Random Visitations? But yeah, the Forsaken are stacking on top of each other. That would be perfect for Stream of Corruptions onto this target. Furies can probably come back from the Nurgle side. Oh, okay. Azazel, knowing that he can't let these Angels of Decay continue punishing him with more Death's Head, he's trying to go after Angels of Decay, but he dropped his attacking order. That was a mistake. Oh no. Alright, let's fast forward here. We're seeing a Plague Bear summon right at the back of these cultists of Nurgle. And these guys' Furies are tying down Azazel, just keeping him occupied. And also just chipping away his health a bit more. While the Angels of Decay and the Plague Bears are shutting down all this front line of the Warriors of Chaos. Okay, I guess the Chaos Bones are able to break through, but there's so much more infantry remaining on the field here. And the Forsaken all breaks, and that's going to be army losses, as Azazel over here might actually... Did he just go down? He's a demon, so he can die and not leave a body behind. Yeah, I don't see Azazel here. That's probably why it's army losses? Yeah, Azazel went down, so that's probably why the army losses kicked in at that point. But yeah, interesting idea, but the execution needs some work here, as the Hell Cannon immediately got shut down by the Furies diving in. And the Marauder Horseman kiting was a little bit slow, so the Furies were able to catch up. Kills a lot of Nurgle. Yeah, did some okay damage overall, but runs of Visitation and Streams of Corruption, getting some really solid work done. Working now Azazel and thinning out the infantry support on the Warriors of Chaos side. Angels of Decay getting really solid damage overall, but yeah, mostly I think it's the Furies carrying this one, knocking out that Hell Cannon super early in the game. So the Marauder Horsemen can just safely stay back and chill. Oh wait, so not the Marauder Horsemen, sorry. So the Rotting Riders and the infantry are no longer under threat of the enemy bombardment. So yeah, really nice. Oh, put one of the monsters on top of the Hell Cannon. Yeah, definitely a good choice. Because the Hell Cannon doesn't really care if there's monsters are on them. They will still fire as normal, right? Yeah. Right, Nurgle not Nurgle. Vampire Counts versus Demons of Chaos. Let's see. And the Lion going with Undead. Once again, we're seeing a very similar army build here. Zombies, skeleton spears, a couple crypt horrors, Felbat, 3 Varguys. Is that a Balefire Corpse Guard? Yeah, that is still a Balefire Corpse Card with magic damage imbued and also fire damage and fire resistance too. Mortis Engine nearby, and okay, against the Demons of Chaos, that is certainly a sound choice, because there's a chance you will have to face a Nurgle style blob army against the Demons of Chaos. Von Karstein Vampire Lord once again leading the army with the Storm of the Night. This makes it very deadly against the Chainbringers. A Storm of the Night on these guys, and then swarm them with Vargheists. That would be the end of them. But yeah, right now the Vargheists are all intercepted. Oh no, all Vargheists are all intercepted by Furies or Screamers, and they're not quite able to get to the Chainbringers. The Zombie Dragon ignored these melee demons and then tried to go straight for the Chainbringers. One of the Chainbringers also being harassed by Velvets. But yeah, Curse of the Leopard giving them extra armor to and try and protect them a bit more and trying to get them out of there as well. But yeah, the supremacy of the Vargheists in melee managed to beat down the Furies, ignoring the Shrieking Skyrays, and go straight for the Chainbringers. I didn't go through the Demon's army here. Let us just quickly go through that. Nurglings on the ground, plus Bubonics, Frolickers Bubonic, Exalted Great and Clean One for the Mortis Engine. In fact, you might want to get into the fight soon, or rather right now, because he needs to be in the fight for the Mortis Engine. In fact, to take to activate. Yeah, to activate, that's the word. Other than that, there's a couple of Changebringers and a bunch of Furies that already died. Shrieking Sky Rays and one Korn's Bloody Fist. That is threatening to take down Von Karstein Vampire Lord. But yeah, Von Karstein Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon too busy dealing with the Changebringers, chasing after it to care about the Korn's Bloody Fist. Although he is a bit slowed down because he's just kind of colliding into the Zombie Dragon. Zombie Dragon kind of colliding into the pursuing Korn's Bloody Fist, and the Chainbringers have managed to regroup and retreated back to safety. Immediately they're eyeing on the Mortis Engine, taking out a huge chunk of its health with that deadly flamethrower effect. But one Changebringer has went down, and the other is also down to half health. The Von Karstein Vampire Lord continues to ignore that Korn's Bloody Fist, knowing that he needs to take down the Chainbringers for his Mortis Engine to stay alive, and the Felbats plus Vargheists are either too damaged or too busy to go after the Chainbringers. These Felbats might actually catch up for a bit there, but I don't think they're gonna survive for long as they're already crumbling away. Zombies are just duking it out against. Oh no! The Exalted Great and Clean One has just been left at the back. He's not turning on the Pestilence Decay to thin out the enemy infantry support. But he also needs to be in the fight to activate it, in fact. So he's just standing there doing nothing. That was not good. At least in the skies, there's... Oh no, that's probably the end of the Chainbringers. One more of the Vargheists have crumbled, but the healthier Vargheists managed to catch up to the Chainbringers with that Storm of the Night slow. So the Chainbringers are no more. The Mortis Engine is safely sitting in the middle of a bunch of infantry, slowly draining all those Nurglings nearby. Now finally, maybe the Great and Clean One can go in and start activating the Mortis Engine. In fact, but his infantry are running thin. That is a big problem. There's not much infantry left to protect him. But the Vampire Count doesn't care about... can't really capitalize on the lack of infantry support as effectively here. As Vampire Counts in general just suck at dealing with large single entities. So there's still a good chance that Exalted Great and Clean One can just grind everything out with the Mortis Engine. In fact, it's a battle of Mortises, honestly. Korn's Bloody Fist is flying back to try and fight shoulder to shoulder with the Mortis, with the Exalted Great and Clean One, trying to get some damage done onto the enemy troops as well. But yeah, I mean, Balance of Heart is in the Vampire Count's favor, but I don't know how they can kill the Exalted Great and Clean One if it still have Fleshy Abundance ready. And that might be a Fleshy Abundance onto... Oh, that's where the... Wait, hold on. Oh, never mind, the Balefire... Oh, yeah, here comes... That is where the Balefire Corpse Card comes in handy, actually. That will that will cut down some of... Oh yeah, that will cut down half of that Fleshy Abundance, in fact. Although the Zombie Dragon might want to get the hell out of there. Oh, he's getting low. He needs something to help him get out of there. body block the 2 single entities here. Oh, but there's a... Oh, the Siege Army got very lucky here. Getting the tier 3 Siege Army ability that boom... Yeah, the Demon's Army got very lucky. Getting the tier 3 Siege Army ability that bombarded and killed every bit of these infantry nearby in this block. Crypt Horrors are still doing okay, but a lot of the infantry just got killed by that bombardment. And zombies and skeleton spears are sitting back here, trying to wait for their turn to go in and maybe distract and pin down these exotic great and clean ones. Anyways, the Crypt Horrors are just thriving, having double passive heals on them right now with the Mortis Engine and also their own regeneration. And a very deadly breath attack from the Zombie Dragon, pushing that Corn's Bloody Fist into Army Losses territory. And that shall be GG. That shall be victory for the Vampire Counts there, outgrinding the Exotic Great and Clean One and the Corn's Bloody Fist. Yeah. Too bad it was not a Sword of Corn though. It would be funny as well with a Sword of Corn, but the Siege Bombardment is, I think, is probably better in this case. Just a wider area that can kill more troops instead of a more smaller area with more damage within it. Yeah, Mortis Engine definitely MVP here, draining down all the surrounding troops, slowly just trickling the HP of these demons down as well as the Nurglings, of course. And yeah, very good damage from the Von Karstein Vampire Lord. Storm of the Night draining the health of the flying units, slowing them down, more importantly, allowing the Vargheists and the Felbats to catch up and knock out those aerial firepower. Anything that can air cut, you kind of gotta go anti-air force, or you just end up getting build checked for sure with Vampire Counts. They don't have any missiles, so their anti-air game solely relies on their anti-air build, which is, I guess, for Von Karstein Vampire Lord and a bunch of Vargheists. Makes sense. And yeah. So yeah, most of the damage were done by the Exotic Great and Clay one. Would have loved to see him get into melee earlier, because he went in too late. So he could have done a bit more damage when he was in melee earlier to drain down the enemy troops and thin out those infantry support. That would be very important here. But unfortunately, that was not the case here. And yeah, in the end, the Demons of Chaos got outgrined by the Vampire Counts. Once Bloody Fist and the Shrieking Sky Rays did a lot of good damage though, because the Vampire Count units, the Vampire Lord and the Vargheists, were very committed to chasing down a Changebringer, so they were just following those enemies from behind and doing some free damage over time. But unfortunately, they're still not quite able to carry this game for the Demons of Chaos army. Wait, are we seeing more Khorne versus Nurgle battles here? Oh boy. This is very much the... okay. A similar Khorne build, but okay. We might fast forward that one, but yeah, anyways. Right, once more, we have Khorne units here, with a front line of Marauders, 2 Khorne Gores, once again Bloodwake Berserkers, 4 Furies, 2 Minotaurs with great weapons, and Skull Taker. Adam, TM, is going with Ogre Kingdoms with an Ogre Slot Master, 3 Pigback Riders, 2 Ogre Bulls, 2 Gold Fang, Gold Fat. Man, I don't know if this is gonna get demonetized my stream or anything, but Gold Fat Man Eaters, so they have armor piercing and an anti-inventory bonus with the ability to Vanguard deploy, but they're not Vanguard deployed and they are still Man Eaters, of course, so they do have that immune to psychology, but I would argue that at this point you might as well just bring the Ogre Man Eaters with great weapons. Oh, they also have extra HP, but I would argue you might just bring the Great Weapon Marauder, Great Weapon Man Eaters, since you're not Vanguard deploying them. But anyways, Lead Belchers, 3 of them in fact, making them a very deadly force to just kill infantry and monsters on the Khorne side. Which is why, if you're playing as Khorne against Ogre Kingdoms, you might want to bring a double Skull Cannon kite build. But yeah, this is not the case here. Khorne will try to melee rush Ogre Kingdoms, and Ogres doesn't have a lot of... Oh no, the line of sight is absolutely horrible for the Lead Belchers. You can see these ridges, these small sand ridges. they're gonna block the line of sight of some of these lead belchers, and they can't reach the Marauders of Khorne on the other side of the map, and that will limit their firepower heavily. Yeah, that is not good. But yeah, anyways, Fury's getting a little too close to the lead belchers and are getting punished for it. But yeah, at the same time, because the Furies are getting shot, the Marauders are getting into melee just fine, which is a big problem. If you're playing as lead belchers, you want to use their firepower to thin out the enemy infantry, because your Nobblers are not going to hold for long. So you need to punish the enemy as much as possible while they're still marching in. And Overbulls are charging in and getting some really good damage against the Marauders of Khorne. Gold-Fat Man-Eaters are beating down the Khorne Gores, but they have activated their immune to unbreakable ability for now, so they will hold on in the fight for a little longer. And Furies are now diving onto the lead belchers because all the money went into the Gold-Fat Man-Eaters. There is not enough money left to buy something like, say, Saber Tusk to protect the lead belchers. So they're exposed to the Furies with nothing really to help them out there. They're all alone, and they're getting absolutely sliced and diced by the Furies, eaten alive, which is not great, which is honestly not great. As the Nobbler front line is crumbling, exposing the lead belchers at the back to the Marauders incoming. And the Gold-Fat Man-Eaters plus the Man-Eaters' great weapons are not exactly sufficient in terms of numbers to provide the kind of support they need. And yeah, there are a lot of more and more Minotaurs rushing in, and there's just no assets in place to protect those lead belchers from the Marauders, from the Minos, from Skull Tickers, Bloodbike, and the lead belchers are all compromised. This is your best tool to kill off all those Khorne infantry, or even Minos actually, outside of the Man-Eaters' great weapons. So losing them means that Ogre Kingdoms loses most of their damage output. Gold-Fat Man-Eaters might be a decent melee combatant, but against dedicated anti-large melee fighters like the Minotaur's great weapons, they are not enough. They won't be trading efficiently. So yeah, at this point, the Ogre Kingdoms are either throwing in the towel or army losses. I think it's they throw in the towel, noticing that they can't beat everything with only the Gold-Fat Man-Eaters. And yeah, it's pretty rough for this kind of thin front line to slow down a Khorne assault. That's why you want to bring maybe like maybe cut out the Gold-Fat Man-Eaters and just bring Man-Eaters' great weapons. They have immune to psychology and they are decent melee combatants. They're not as elite as Gold-Fat Man-Eaters, but you don't need them to be. You just need something to hold the line with that immune to psychology to hold back monsters and protect the lead belchers. And also bring a bunch of Saber Tusk packs. They're great. They're excellent at dealing with Furies. So yeah, there's that. Some good damage from the Minos' great weapons, and yeah, that is gonna be that. Yeah, lead belchers unfortunately didn't really get a chance to shoot at the enemy infantry, so didn't get a whole lot of damage value either. If they have the ability to knock out these Marauders of Khorne, or even the Khorne Gores in a couple of volleys. But unfortunately, they were just not shooting at the right targets. Oh, that was the semi-finals. Okay. Alright, next up. Oh, Greenskins versus Siege. We haven't seen that. Okay. Darth Plagueis going with a line of goblins. Oh, the Crimson Killers. Ready to slice and dice the Siege army. 3 Orc Arrow Boys plus 1 single Rusty Heirs, 2 Wyverns, and 3 Orc Barbarians, one of them the Broken Tusk pack. Broken Tusk mob. Hold on, slow down. Leading the army is a Night Goblin War Boss with Fermented Fungi and Tormentor Sword. Both are excellent controlling abilities. And one more Orc Shaman. Interesting. What for? Gaze of Mork and Fists of Gork. Okay. I guess it's probably for buffing the Crimson Killer, actually. And Gaze of Mork for long range damage. But on the other side, for the Siege army, a bunch of Sandagors of Siege, and Marauder Horsemen of Siege as well. 4 of them in total. Herald of Siege with Metal Magic with Final Transmutation. Great against the Greenskins, because not all of them, because they have very limited healing options. Other than that, Marauders, Zangors in the front line and Pig Horrors at the second line. Alright, let's see what happens here. Fast forward a bit. As the Marauders of Siege are flanking around, trying to move into position for some skirmishing moves. And oh no, Orc begins getting charged by the Senegals of Team, the Zanagors, and doing a lot of armor-piercing damage on impact. They're trying to fight back with that. Oh no, these ones. Oh no, that's where the mistake came from. Okay, Orc begins. They had the initial charge attack onto the Murder Horsemen, so they had a movement and attacking order towards the Murder Horsemen. But because they have that, they didn't target the charge against the Zanagors, so they just ate the charge without delivering a charge back. And at the same time, they were trying to force path onto the Murder Horsemen nearby. And so they were just force pathing instead of moving, and instead of fighting the Senegals of Team. And so they took a lot of extra damage, because they were not fighting and lose out on a bunch of damage output. But once they start fighting back, especially with Spite of the Bat Moon, you can see that they're absolutely shredding those Zanagors. Just that it might be a bit too late there, and yeah, unfortunately the Orc Barbarians might just be seen off at this point, even with the Tormentor Sword earlier locking down the Murder Horsemen. But anyways, right, the Wyvern is in here, trying to finish off trying to do some good damage to the Herald of Team there, who for once somehow got back his team's disc. Now on the other side, at least our Air Boys are doing some good damage against the Zanagors. And in the front line, well, in the front line, the Goblins are doing Goblin things, and Crimson Killers, though being an elite unit, is heavily targeted by Pink Horror Fire. Fist of Gorg and War is helping them cut through their enemies faster, but the problem is they are just under constant volleys of Pink War Flames. They're not taking a lot of damage from the melee, but man, the missile damage definitely builds up for sure. And was there any final Searing Doom on the other side? Nope, there isn't. Okay. So we can confirm it's just the Pink Horde, just absolutely lighting them up when they try to move in. And the Orc Air Boys are too busy dealing with the mobility threats on the flank, so yeah, the Crimson Killers are kind of left to dry there in the middle, being stuck in a bunch of spawns of Team who also have armor sundering to reduce their armor, making it more effective for those Pink Horrors to absolutely shoot down the poor Crimson Killers. They couldn't even earn back their worth before they die in a horrible Warflame burn to a crisp. At least the Wyvern is now being sent over to deal with the Herald of Team, just going straight after him, making sure he can't stay in one place. But final transmutations are indeed very deadly from the demon side. The Night Goblin Warboss doesn't have a lot of health, and every bit of the direct damage would definitely put a dent in his HP bar. Now finally the Orc Air Boys have decided to move back to the front line and provide fire support, which they should have been doing earlier, but yeah, finally, and they are shooting their rather inaccurate arrows onto the Pink Horrors, but it doesn't really matter, they're shooting at an infantry formation anyways, and are putting a dent in those Pink Horrors HP bar. And also the spawns took a couple volleys as well, so the Crimson Killer is finally getting through those spawns of Team. Oh, Sauriguts got rampaged by the fermented fungi into the Crimson Killers. They might die in combat, but I think that might actually kill the Crimson Killers because of the explosions on death. We shall see. We shall see what happens there. Wait, hold on. Okay. Okay, yeah, the Night Goblin War Boss jumping into the middle of a bunch of Pink Horrors, making sure that they can't just sit back and fire safely. While the Crimson Killers will be killing a bunch of Sauriguts. And Broken Sun's mob chasing off Murder Horsemen of Siege, as the Zanagors have all been dealt with, either by being shot by arrows or being pushed back earlier in melee. So I think the Greenskins army probably have this one. The balance of power is like 40 to 60, and a good chunk of that 40 on the team side is in these ammo of the Sauriguts and Murder Horsemen, which they won't have a chance to use, so yeah. Especially that these Murder Horsemen still being chased down by the Wyvern, and they just not having a good time to stay where they are supposed to be and then deliver that fire support. Yeah, they probably they should turn on that fire at will. They're dragged into melee. But yeah, either ways, it is going to be army losses as the Siege army falls apart. Yeah, interesting use of the Wyvern. I never expected to see a Wyvern in any battle, mostly, but yeah, they managed to get some value, I guess. Just hunting down the Herald of Team. Actually, that was a very important bit. Having that single entity flying unit, they can either threaten Changebringers or just hunt down the flying lord. That is actually quite important here. To deny enemy from safely sitting in the skies, because greenskins don't have any other flying units, and Wyvern is the only tool they can use it to counteract aerial threats. And Orc Airboys might be missile threats, but they're not exactly great at dealing with. Yeah, they're not exactly like a high damage burst damage unit. So yeah, there's that. Yeah. Fermented Fungi and Tormentor's Sword are just such good controlling abilities, honestly. And over here, the Broken Tusk mobs and the Orc Boar Biggins didn't do a whole lot of damage, but the Crimson Killers got back their worth somehow. Killing through a bunch of Zangors. Oh, that's why it took them some time. If it was Marauders, they would die even faster. But Zangors are slightly better, and they held on a little longer against the Crimson Killers, but still, no match for the most elite of Black Orcs. And then even the spawns got hacked down in melee, actually. They struggled to do much damage in return either. And then the Sour Guts got killed as well. So the Crimson Killers. I thought you could not bring them for greenskins because they're from ER only, can get them if unit caps are off. No, you can bring Wyvern in the game, I think. Hold on. Herald of Tinge with Metal Magic, with all those final transmutations, definitely getting some good value, but in the end still getting knocked out by Wyverns. Okay, let's see. I remember Wyverns were given to the greenskins as like a unit, as like a legit unit. Yeah, you can see for a Wyvern, you can bring two of them in with the unit caps on. Yeah. And Orc Warboss. You can bring him on the Wyvern as well. I don't know if yeah, Savage Orc Shaman can also go on a Wyvern. So yeah, Wyvern is a legit unit. Yeah, it's been in the campaign only unit for the longest of time, but yeah, they have been upgraded, to say the least. All right, what's next? Let's yeah, let's see another Cordon bout. I feel like we've seen quite. Okay, let's do something different right now. Ogres versus Skaven, actually. Once again, Adam TM. Okay, we're seeing Adam TM here with double Stonehorn build. I think this is we can fast forward this. I think we can fast forward this. No, this is gonna be hell for the Skavens. So double Stonehorn Hunters, and healing support from the Slaughtermaster front line of Nobbler, Pickback Riders, Nobblers, and then Ogre Bulls, Nobbler Trappers, one that Belchers to shoot up infantry formation from afar. Excellent for killing those Storm Vermins. And yeah, and one carrion unit. On the other side for the Skavens, Wolf Rats with Poison, front line of Spears and Storm Vermin. Oh no, Rats, yeah, oh no, for the Rats. Red Ogres and one Climber Spears guarding the anti-Google Sharpshooter. And Skaven Slave Slingers. Let's fast forward. Notice, with all due respect to the Skaven player here, this matchup is fucked for them. They simply have nothing really to deal with the Stonehorn, double Stonehorn with healing. There's nothing for them. Okay, actually there are 2 units of Carrions, but anyways, both of them are just diving that Blood Vultures. No, 2, not Carrions, Blood Vultures diving that one anti-Bull Sharpshooter, silencing it, and then the Blood Belchers don't care about friendly fire, firing straight into the middle here and try to kill off this blob of Skaven troops. And here comes the Hunter. Okay, they're charging the monster, not the unit you want to charge in, but not that the Red Ogres are much threat against the Stonehorn Hunter anyways. Let's fast forward. Just jumps in, plows through all the Skavens, terrifies them. Nobblers are breaking from the Storm Vermin and Skaven and whatnot, but Red Ogre is being shot up by the Bogglers of the Mad Marshes. Red Ogres, Climate Spears, all terrified under the Hunters. And on top of that, Ogre Bulls charging in, absolutely smashing apart whatever's standing in their standing to face them. As the Skavens are really struggle against monstrous infantry. Except maybe the Storm Vermin. Oh, this is a beautiful blob for lead belchers to shoot at. Some red ogres, noticing the threat of the lead belchers, try to go after them, but alas, that's not gonna work because there are some nobblers and tattered ogre bulls there to screen them off. Okay, that hunter need to get the hell out of the storm vermins, but yeah, overall the storm. Oh, and wolf rats. Oh, if they are now in the middle of the lead belchers, it would have been so helpful right now, but they're being forgotten on the side of the battlefield, being tactical reserves. Oh no, that was a big mistake. You really need those. You really need those wolf rats to silence the lead belchers. Finally, they're activated, but it's too late. Storm vermin are getting deleted by those lead belchers, and the double stonehorn just trampling them as well. Oh no, rats! Those rats are dead. I think rat ogres should have good versus large, maybe. But by design, they are bonus versus large. Like their anti-large targets of Skavens should be storm vermin and their weapons teams. Oh, actually, maybe they need the warp drill team. What is that team called? Warp Quake. No, I forgot the name of the unit actually. They need the drill team basically, to lock down enemy monsters, just stopping them from moving and all that. Yeah. Anyway, Slaughtermaster, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, there's there's very little deviance from the expectation here in this matchup with the double Stonehorn on the field. It's such an oppressive combo against the Skaven army, who really struggle against large single entity monster that is heavily armored and yeah, and especially they also have excellent healing support too. This is even worse than the Dreadsaurian build, where there's only one Dreadsaurian for, but there are two Stonehorns here, all with roughly the same amount of HP as the Dreadsaurian, and both of terror and heavy armor, and it's just more healing sources for them as well. It's fucked for this matchup. And Lead Belchers did well against the Storm Vermins. There's little doubt on that. Lord Scroll, unfortunately, just not having a good day against the double Stonehorn. Storm Vermin tried their best, just not quite enough there, as they were getting lit up by those Lead Belchers too. And Red Ogres, they couldn't, yeah, they were not able to stand in front of the double Stonehorn. Oh shit, I deleted the wrong replay, fuck. What did I miss out? Greenskins, Skaven, so let me retrace my footsteps. Give me a second. Khorne versus Nurgle, that's the one. Alright, there we go. Alright, Khorne versus Skaven. This Khorne versus Nurgle. One more time. One last time. Unlucky Spotify going with 4 units of Marauders, 2 Khorne Gores. Yeah, 2 Khorne Gores, Bloodweight Berserker, 4. Hold on. Sorry. 4 Furies and 2 Great Weapon Minos. Leading the army is Skulltaker on his Blood Bike. On the other side, for the Nurgle army, going for a very tight build. Festering Stooges with their Death's Head, Marauders of Nurgle with Great Weapons, and the Rotting Rider plus Chaos Lord of Nurgle plus the Sorcerer of Nurgle combo there. And yeah, one more unit of the Angels of Decay for those aerial Death's Head bombardment. But they do have to beware. There are some Chaos Furies, 4 of them in the skies, of 4 Furies of Khorne, with only 2 Furies of Nurgle to try and protect those Angels of Decay. That is going to be rough. But Angels of Decay might want to just move over and start shooting in the Bloodweight Berserker A7. While the Nurgle Furies can maybe buy some time for those Angels of Decay to shoot. Oh wait, no, they're trying to shoot at Skulltaker instead. And yeah, this blob of Rotting Riders and all are just trying to slam straight in. Oh no, they're taking a lot of friendly fire from friendly dev's head. Oh, that's why they're taking so much damage here. Oh no. Oh, down to half health already on these chaos rotting riders. This is not great. All the friendly fire from the dev's head. No. Oh, all the damage that could have went to the enemy. Instead went to the rotting riders. I think the Nurgle team is fucked. Not gonna lie. The frontal charge from the blob of rotting riders is very nice in theory, but then the devs had come in from behind and absolutely nuked down those rotting riders. And immediately they're just getting slaughtered by the Coin Gores flooding in as well, who are pretty swift on their feet, being a light infantry after all. And Corn Army absolutely smashing apart the Nurgle resistances. Corn Furies also outclassed the Nurgle Furies and took out the Nurgle Furies. Festering Stooges are now trapped, swarmed by a bunch of Corn Gores and Furies, and yeah, the Rotting Riders are gone. And it's going to be army losses soon enough, as the Furies are also taking out those Angels of Decay in the sky, leaving only the Plague Bearers of Nurgle summoned version still in the fight, and the Cultists of Nurgle. But yeah, that doesn't really matter, as that is going to be army losses there. That was a fast one. That was a very unfortunate use of the Festering Stooges. They should be in the front lines. They should be in the front lines, not in the second line. Well. But yeah, I'm not even gonna go through all of the... Yeah, I'm not even gonna go through all of the army values here. Oh boy. That was painful. But at least the Angels of Decay did some pretty good value. Shooting at... Well, whatever they can shoot at, really. With their death set. But yeah, that was not enough. Not when they got absolutely nuked down by friendly fire. Alright, Greenskins versus Skaven. This time the Skaven going with a lot of Poison Globes. We shall see what happens here. But yeah, for the army builds, once again we're seeing Grimgor Ironhide with Trollhack. Giant River Trollhack. Well, he did came back in the last game and made it close versus you. Yeah, for sure. They learned their lesson and didn't bring Festering Stooges. Yeah. A front line of Goblins and Orc Bagans here, with Goblin Spears as well. A second line of Orc Air Boys and Rusty Airs, protected by 4 Orc Boar Bagans. Giant River Trollhack and Grimgor Ironhide, plus some Forest Goblin Spider Riders on the flanks for some mobility. Now for the Skavens, basically a box. A Claret Spear front line, second line of 5 Poison Globes, guarded by Ashen Triads at the back, really preparing to deal with enemy infantry, and these Poison Globes are going to be very deadly. Red Ogres guarding the back line with some Slingers, leading the army is Snakitch. Oh, Snake, ready to snipe out enemy characters. But first of all, he needs to survive the enemy damage here. Already being targeted by enemy airs, but immediately, oh, the Poison Globes deleting a bunch of the poor Goblins and even some of the Biggins as well. Biggins might be tougher and harder, but that is not going to matter against chemical weapons here. When the war crime mouse are, yeah, mouses with war crime are just going to kill them with gas. Yeah. Fate of Buna immediately onto one of the Poison Globes, but can it whip enough? We shall see. I mean, there are still 4 more units of Poison Wing Globes still on the field, and the Orc Biggins are being peeled off before even making melee contact with these Poison Wing Globes. One Poison Wing Globe's completely shut. This might be where you want some Stone Trolls and Wyverns to break through the Skaven front line, because infantry. Theoretically, infantry trade well into Skaven Chaff, but the problem is they are so vulnerable to Poison Winds, they just melt in front of Poison Winds. That's why you need monstrous infantry and monsters in general that can circumvent the front line and shut down the Poison Globes. But yeah, Stone Trolls will be good here. Grimgor Ironhide going after a Warlock Engineer. The Warlock Engineer might want to try running for his life and throw Snitch in to kill Grimgor. Come on. Don't let him sit back there and do nothing. He hasn't seen much action after all. Wait, did he just? Oh, he accidentally used Wire of the Whipping Blade onto himself. So that stopped him from moving for a bit. But yeah, overall the Skaven front line is still buckling hard though. When the Orc Boarboy Biggins are entering the fight, absolutely crushing all those red ogres with their anti-large armor piercing, leaving only a Poison Wing gloves in the fight, and they're being outranged by the Orc Airboys at least, so that's not great. And with the Orc Boarboy Biggins dragging some of these Poison Wing gloves into melee, the Poison Wing gloves are not able to safely sit back and shoot at this point. Alright, Snake trying to go on a head-on charge against Grimgor Ironhide, but Grimgor is a powerful melee combatant and he's fighting back, taking out huge chunks of HP from Deathmaster Snake. And that might be the end of Deathmaster. He's knocked over, he is not able to run away fast enough. And one more hit from Grimgor, he's down. Yep, that is going to be army losses there. As the Skaven front line broke, and there's not enough of a second line to delay the charge of the Orc Boarboy Biggins. Probably want to have maybe 1 or 2 less Poison Wing gloves. You don't see people bring 5 of them usually. And just bring more Skaven slaves to as like a more of a buffer. And also Snake is not a great lord, unfortunately. He's too fragile. And yeah. Ashen Triads didn't get a good fight either. They were forced to fight some infantry and then just all of them just... Oh wait, these are not Rusty Airs. These are Ruglug's armor troll orcs. Okay. But yeah. Wait, what happened to these Ashen Triads? Why are they breaking so soon? Hold on. But yeah, Grimgor had a hell of a time, and a Giant River Trollhag also did some good damage. The front line of the Greenskins didn't do much, but the Air Boys managed to just sit back and fire, while the mobility did all the work afterwards. Clearing out the Red Ogres, running down the weapons teams and whatnot. Alright, let me just quickly rewatch this one, just to check what happened to the Ashen Triads. Alright, let me just fast forward that. What happened to the Ashen Triads? But yeah, this kind of probably don't want to bring Clarinet Spears as well. Just regular Clarinets and Skaven Slave Spears just to hold the line would have been a more efficient use of the funds, I think. Yeah, the front line, the infantry immediately got annihilated by the Poison Wing Globes. Though of course there is a bit of a friendly fire in the process, which is why you want Skaven Slaves. They're cheaper, so the friendly fire doesn't hurt as much as well. Oh, first Goblin Spy Riders try to harass the Poison Globes. They want to kill things, but the Bob saw the ranged unit die and would die. Ah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Ashen Triads did well when they're fighting enemy cavalry. But Orc Boarboy Biggins just charging in, crushing the enemy front line. And Red Ogres also just losing to attrition and being shot by arrows, I suppose. The Red Ogres were holding for a while, but not for long. Just shot up by a lot of arrows as well. Man, the Red Ogres did die pretty fast, especially when charged by the Orc Boarboy Biggins. And there's just, I think it would have, this build would have benefited from more melee troops around the Skaven box. Just one layer of troops around the box with a few Ashen Triads isn't quite enough. Alright, hold on, pause. Oh no, some of the Ashen Triads are chasing off routed units and are not in the position to stop the incoming Orc Boarboy Biggins. Yeah, a couple of them still very healthy, but way out of position. Not able to protect their backline assets at that point. Alright, Tomb Kings versus Tinge. Now, fellow Cheetah going with a line of skeletons, 2 Tomb Guards, 4 Skeleton Archers. Once again, 2 Necropolis Knights and a Bone Giant. Leading the army is Cetra the Imperishable, probably on his worst things, or on his Chariot of the Gods. Oh, nope, more Sphinx. For the Tinge army, a front line of Chaos Warriors, second line of Pink and Blue Horrors, and third line of Murder Horsemen of Tinge, and leading the army is Changeling, supported by a Cultist. Changeling coming in with a transformation into Tyrion. Oh boy, this is gonna be a duel of the ages. Changeling slash Tyrion is gonna go and try and duel Cetra the Imperishable. We shall see what happens here as we are fast forwarding this. Oh no! Tyrion does not transform with his horse, so he is on foot now. And he does not have Heart of Avalon, because Heart of Avalon is an item, not an ability. You can have abilities when Changeling transform into a character, but he does not have any items. So yeah, he doesn't have the burst heal, and he is struggling to decide where to go for the combat. Now, Chaos Warriors of Tinge will have no problem cutting through those skeletons and braving the arrow fire from the skeleton archers. And Tyrion noticing that it's not gonna work here. Trying to run after the Necropolis Knights isn't gonna work, so he's just trying to go back and help the melee fight here while being constantly sniped by the Bone Giant. Now on the far side there, the Murder Horsemen are just gonna kite out the Necropolis Knights. Not exactly a greatest use of their time, since Necropolis Knights won't be able to catch up to those Murder Horsemen, so they're probably going to come over and do some rear charge. Physical resistance with the Neruza Incantation of Protection is completely useless in this matchup. You're better off just to bring the Incantation of Vengeance and just keep spamming that, because the entire Tinge army has physical resistance, has magic damage to bypass physical resistance there, and Neruza Incantation of Protection doesn't give you anything other than some passive heal, which is also cut down by the fire damage of the Tinge army. So yeah, Skeleton Archers are still firing at the Chaos Warriors. Probably want to switch their targets at the Sour Guts and Pink Horrors instead. Cetra having a good time, plowing through enemy infantry using the Armor Piercing and Anti-Infantry bonus to its advantage. And Necropolis Knights, knowing that they can't catch up to the Murder Horsemen, are just gonna go and run down some Pink Horrors and maybe free up the other resources of the Tomb Kings. Like maybe after dealing with the enemy infantry, the Skeleton Archers can just keep shooting at the Murder Horsemen and fend them off. There right now seems like a Bone Giant will be taking his attention over to the Murder Horsemen instead. But yeah, overall the front line of the Tinge army isn't doing too hot. Well, actually, they managed to grind through skeletons, but it takes more time to go through Tomb Gods with their superior melee defense at 47. But yeah, Cetra definitely making some good work onto the Chaos Warriors here, while the Necropolis Knights managed to catch just a few of these Murder Horsemen, but still under heavy fire from the enemy javelins. Skeleton Archers finally getting close enough to reach these Murder Horsemen and are now raining archer fire onto them, trying to deal with the enemy skirmishers. But yeah, some of the Chaos Warriors though has moved into the back line, so an emergency summon Ushapti will be dropped in here just to maybe put a disruption. Put a bit of disruption onto these Chaos Warriors here, while the Necropolis Knights are being kited to death, which is quite unfortunate. Wait, did the Chaos Cultist didn't bring Burning Head again? Okay, interesting though. Tyrion, yeah, just fighting the fight, I guess, but not getting a whole lot of damage value. Being on foot and also not having any of his items, no Sunfang and no Heart of Avalon. The Bone Giant honestly might just want to keep sniping Tyrion, honestly, or slash Changeling. Because the Murder Horsemen are not... Yeah, he's not going to kill all of the Murder Horsemen in time to save the Necropolis Knights. Might as well just kill Tyrion slash Changeling and let the archers deal with the Murder Horses. Or even just shoot at the enemy warriors to take out the enemy melee presence so that the archers can sit back and fire. But now you can see the archers are firing back and knocking on the shields of these Murder Horsemen, and they can also do some good damage to the Sour Guts without taking the explosive damage in return. But Ushapti's summons have gone down. Now Cetra is basically drawing all those Pink Horror fire and Javelin fire. Now no more Necropolis Knights to screen for him. Well, Skeleton Archers might want to switch over to shoot at some of these Murder Horsemen and Sour Guts just to knock out the enemy firepower. Because Cetra is not doing too hot, fighting Tyrion. Tyrion on foot with his stats on, with his stat buffs on, having feint and repulse, and oh no! Is that a friendly fire just killed poor Cetra with friendly fire? That was very unfortunate. We're seeing so much friendly fire today. And that actually put the Tomb Kings into army losses. Oh no. That is tragic. What the fuck just happened there? Oh no. That was quite anticlimactic, not gonna lie. Alright, let's just rewatch that and see what happened there. Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, Cetra being left in the fight for a little too long there. Also bring the wrong spell. Don't bring the Ruse Incantation of Protection against Siege. That physical resistance is not gonna save you. Because, well, it's changed. The entire army has magic attacks. So yeah. If anything, maybe save up. Maybe, if anything, I guess. Sphinx of Uskav would be a pretty good pick since he has fire resistance. Alright, we're just gonna fast forward here. Just to see what happened with the final shot of friendly fire. Is Tyrion the best foot character with flaming attacks? I don't think oh, actually, that makes sense. Tyrion does have flaming attacks on foot, so that makes sense, That does damage to Cetra the Imperishable there. Cetra does have a bit of a fire weakness of 35%. Oh, partly because of the 15% from the warp, 10% from warp flame actually. Yeah. That really accumulated quite a bit of damage over time. But yeah, I think it's just a little bit of mispick in the spell support. Like if the Naru's Incantation of Protection is dumped onto the Chaos Warriors, these rather weak Chaos Warriors would have been gone by now. But at the same time, the Siege army also didn't bring any Burning Hand, so I guess that's kind of even in terms of non-optimal spell support. But yeah, Necropolis Knights, they're just so shit. It's not worth it to bring them. Oh, never mind. It might actually be the Javelin finishing him off. Let's see. Nope, never mind. It is the it is the friendly fire. That shot from the Bone Giant. What the fuck are you doing, Bone Giant? All right. 2 more battles. It took years for his magic fire sword to do damage and flaming damage. Yeah. It has fire and also Archeon too. Both characters have fire on their sword. It's just that they never do fire damage throughout the entirety of Warhammer 2, I think, if I remember correctly. But yeah, yep, that is done. Last 2 battles here. Last two Warriors of Chaos versus Vampire Counts first. Warriors of Chaos, Grimbat going for a very high mobility army here. 4 Horsemasters, 2 Horsemen, 1 Rotting Riders, which is finally not in the Nurgle army. Knights of the Brazen Throne to just plow through enemy infantry there. 2 Hellstriders, 2 Marauders, and 1 Azazel. Leading for the Vampire Counts, Manfred von Karstein on his Zombie Dragon with a front line of zombies and skeletons, plus some Blood Knights with lances at the back there. No Blood Knights with sword and shield because they're probably expecting to deal with enemy cavalry instead. And Vargeist in the skies, providing some armor-piercing presence. With a Manfred coming in with Invocation of Nahek, Valhalla Dance Macabre, and Zombie Summons. Now the Undead army is just slowly marching forward, knowing that they can't really catch up to the enemy troops. Oh, actually, no, the Blood Knights are just gonna go head on. Onto those Murder Horse Masters who did not have a retreating order in time, received the charge from those Blood Knights, but at the same time, Knights of the Brazen from absolutely plowing through the Tithe, and also Hellstriders counter-charging in, trying to dish out damage against the Blood Knights, who did manage to get some damage done here, actually. Rotting Riders also charging in, but the Grave Gods and Zombies are in place to just screen. And Vargeist will be counter-charging. This might be a good time for Manfred to charge in. A little bit of Invocation of Nahek, healing those Blood Knights, making sure that they can outlast those Hellstriders with no issue at all with their anti-large bonus. Rotting Riders are forced to pull back, knowing that they can't push through the Undead infantry screen. A bit of a breath attack from Manfred there.
blasting out some of the Marauder Horsemen. Very brave from Manfred. This might be a big mistake. We shall see in time. On the other side, Undead Infantry are just screening, and Blood Knights over there beating up the enemy Hell Striders. But oh no, Manfred von Kostheim being rampaged by Azazel's Bavane and surrounded by Knights of the Brazen Throne, surrounded by Rotting Riders. No, Manfred von Kostheim going a bit out of his depth here. Getting way too aggressive, trying to go after the Rotting Riders, and dumped him right in the middle, prone for a surround from the Rotting Riders here. And he is indeed surrounded, paying a heavy price for that. But at least the Knights of the Brazen Throne turning around, trying to go after Manfred, is also exposed to a rear charge from the Vargheists. I guess the counter charge against the counter charge worked out for Vampire Counts, as they are just wrapping around on those Knights of the Brazen Throne, shutting down that unit in the end, as they only managed to barely shut down some zombies and undead troops, and did some damage to Manfred, but nothing he can heal all up over time. And even the Rotting Riders took quite a bit of damage in the process, and the Javelins really need to make this work now. Really need to get their shit going, but right now, I guess they were just not on the skirmishing mode. So they were a little bit slow to retreat, and that means the Blood Knights were able to just pin them down, and Manfred coming in, feasting on poor Marauder Flash. And Rotting Riders are trying to go in and maybe pin down Manfred. Oh, another Pavane onto Manfred. But Azazel is a bit stuck behind his own men and zombies, so he was not quite in position of capitalizing this rampage right now. Even being knocked over by Vargheists. So yeah, that was quite unfortunate. And the Javelins on the other side, Javelins are either dead or too far away to shoot at Manfred. So Manfred, after the Pavane, still went back into the skies, not actually having much of a problem here. Alright, fast forward now. Manfred will have a bit of an invocation of the healing back up, and balance of power is already in the Vampire Count's favor. The undead front line is being slowly dragged down by the sheer number of undead troops. And Azazel is completely trapped in the middle of Crypt Horrors and Crypt Ghouls. Oh no, just Vargheists actually, yeah. There's no Crypt Ghouls on. No Crypt Horrors here. Vargheists. Completely trapped in the middle of Vargheists, unable to extract himself from this fight. And yeah, that is going to be army losses there. Joy for casting and GG's to my opponent. Took some notes. Yeah. Glad you enjoy it. And I hope to see you again in the next week's tourney. And yeah, theoretically this would be a pretty good build with the Warriors of Chaos, but unfortunately, the Knights of the Brazen Throne, interesting pick, but yeah, they just got swarmed by the Vargheists there. I guess Manfred von Kostheim wasn't actually a mistake. It was just to pin down the Rotting Riders and let the Knights of the Brazen and maybe throw in the Vargheists after it as well. But I think that was more of an accidental maneuver than an intentional one, because Manfred very well could have just died there, right then and there. If there are some Marauder Javelins nearby, he would take a bunch more damage and just crumble. But yeah, he got lucky there with the Vargheists, and yeah, with the Vargheists rushing in to save him, screen out the Knights of the Brazen Throne and Rotting Riders, allowing him to go back into the skies. And Azazel wasn't quite able to just keep him down and kill him off there. Yeah. But yeah, it looks like the Vampire Counts got a pretty good victory in this one, as the Warriors of Chaos didn't have enough melee presence there to deal with all those Vargheists and Blood Knights. Blood Knights being rather elite after all. Just a rather narrow build on the Warriors of Chaos, and I think with the mobility. Though I can't really think of, maybe don't bring Knights of the Brazen Throne, just bring Rot Knights would have been better. I'm not sure, honestly, but yeah. Anyways, one last battle for tonight. Ogre Kingdoms versus Demons of Chaos. This is gonna be a rough one, because yeah, Seekers, 4 of them in total. It's gonna be rough. Oh wait, yo, the Weep Ogre is here. Man, Ashen Man-Eater, let's go.
Gather ingredients for me, and I will then cook this world's greatest feast.
Alright, let's go for the army builds here. Normal speed, Ogre Kingdoms with a Pickback Rider front line and Nobblers as well. Just a cheap and cheerful one. Second line of Nobbler Trappers with, again, cheap and cheerful units. With missiles and decent enough melee presence to hold the line and buffer for the third line of unit, which are the Man-Eaters Ogre Pistols, protected by some Ogre Bulls. Not exactly the most brilliant melee combatants, but they do have the mass and a bit of weapon damage to hold the line for a while. Bunch of Saber Tusk packs, and leading the army is Slot Master of Beasts for those Flock of Dooms against enemy mobility, and Ashy Man-Eater supporting. For the Demons of Chaos, the front line of Blue Horse and just 8 units of mobility once again. 2 Seekers on each side, 2 Flesh Hounds on each side. Ready to overwhelm those Ogre Kingdoms defenses and swarm their backline there. And Ogre Kingdoms, I don't think they have a lot of units to protect and screen for those Ogre Pistols. So that might be a bit of a problem. Ogre Pistols also busy shooting at the front instead of the side here, as the Saber Tusk packs are being rampaged. Not being rampaged, but already falling into a rampage as they were charged and destroyed by the Seekers. Flesh Hounds jumping in, trying to overload those flanking protection of the Ogre army. Ogre Pistols are turning around and try to pick off those Seekers from afar, while the Nobblers are not having a good time in the front line either. Just now, the first line of Nobblers are breaking. Even the the Pickback Riders are holding fine for now, but the Nobbler Trappers are going up to trade fire. But yeah, some Nobbler Trappers and Nobblers have went to the rear and tried to provide some melee support. Excuse me. Trying to provide some melee support for the mobility at the back. Alright, sorry. Yeah. Trying to provide some melee support at the back there. And let's see what happens. Yep, right. But yeah. Oh no, these Flesh Hounds and Seekers are just standing back, not really doing anything. While the Seekers and Flesh Hounds here taking massive losses. The Ogre Kingdoms also took a lot of losses, but overall the Ogre Pistols are still protected, and now the Ogre Pistols can now move over to this side here and start picking off the Seekers. We're sitting back here, taking a break, but at the same time exposing themselves to the Ogre Pistols fire from nearby. And yeah, I think things are still looking quite even right now, but a lot of the mobility from the Demons are not where they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be in the back line, shutting down the Ogre Pistols, putting pressure on them, and once again we're seeing that Exotic Great Unclean One just sitting idle, not doing anything. He should be up in the front line, stomping on the Nobbler Trappers, but right now the Nobbler Trappers are all free to just sit back and fire, whittling down the enemy, whittling down the lightly armored Demons of Chaos. Ogre Pistols might be tied down by Seekers over here, but okay, actually the Pickback Riders might want to go over here to help them out, but even then, even if they don't, the Man-Eaters with Ogre Pistols are no slouch in melee combat, and they're fighting back for sure. And here comes the Pickback Riders coming to help, and the Nobbler Trappers providing fire support. There goes the Seekers, and the Ogre Pistols are safe to sit back and fire once again. Ogre Pistols, another great thing about Ogre Pistols is they're a rather mobile artillery unit. They're ogres after all, so they have decent speed at 54. They can quickly maneuver around the battlefield. Moving over to the right flank to shoot up the Seekers, and now moving back trying to shoot at other Seekers. And finally, the Exalted Great Unclean One. Only 150 gold. Yeah, that was not great for the guy. He should have been in the front lines, just keep pushing the enemy troops alongside the rest of his demons. But right now, I think the demons are probably gonna be GG. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, actually, never mind. Yeah, the Ogre Pistols are turning around to shoot at the Exalted Great Unclean One, who is dueling the Man-Eater, the Wheat Man-Eater here. Of course, the Ashen Man-Eater is anti-infantry, so he's not great against the Exalted Great Unclean One, but he is also occupying the attention of the Great Unclean One, allowing the Man-Eaters and the Nobblers to just keep shooting at him. While the rest of the Ogre army using the sheer numbers and just wall of belly and muscle and meat to wear down the lightly armored lightly armored demons. Seekers are going for a head-on charge into the Ogre Pistols, but they're not before taking some Overwatch damage on their way in. And they're also not long for this. Well, crossfire from the Ogre Pistols and Nobblers are just going to finish off the Great and Clean one, Ashen Man-Eater, unfortunately is being routed, but that is not going to change the battle as Armulus is hit for the Demons of Chaos. That shall be it. Yeah, that is going to be all for today's battles. Let's go through the last post-battle screen here. You can see the Nobblers did okay, mostly just to like tie down the enemy blue horrors and let the Nobbler trappers do the work here, sitting at the back, just firing at both the demon mobility and the Great and Clean one, getting solid damage, double their own worth here for these Nobbler trappers for sure. And the others also got some decent damage, even if they are not a melee, they ran out of ammo or are just too threatened in melee. They can still disrupt enemy troops with just dragging them down in melee or just like keep holding them back as a decent-ish melee combatant. Ogre Pistols got some ludicrous value shooting down Seekers and the Great and Clean one. And Saber Test Packs, always a great tool to protect your backline. They can't really, even if they don't do much damage, they are just a better unit than a Warhound to hold back enemy troops and dish out damage in return with their great weapon strength. And yeah, for the Demons of Chaos, once again, the Exalted Great and Clean one has been sitting idle for too long, I feel. And the Seekers, half of the mobility also got forgotten for a bit in combat, which is not great. And yeah, Blue Horrors getting some meh damage overall. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. I hope you all enjoyed today's stream and enjoyed the tournament, whether you played in it or just watching the stream. And a big thanks, big shout out to RTK Clan for hosting the tourney and inviting me and other streamers to cast these really fun multiplayer battles. We'll be back next week for another multiplayer, new player or advanced player tournament, depending on what RTK Clan decided to give me. But yeah, we'll be back soon with more multiplayer battles. But that's gonna be it for this week, and I shall see you all in the next one. Tactical It signing out.